6:30, I'm going to go ahead and call the regular meeting of the Lake Orion Village Council to order for Monday, May 11th. Please rise for Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
President Rutt,
Here.
Pro Tem Ford,
Here.
Councilmember Dandelides,
Here.
Councilmember Comparoni,
Here.
Councilmember Papachuk.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Item number 4, presentations. We have one for a recognition of Lake Orion Bike and Adventure for donation of police e-bikes. Chief Edmondson.
Thank you. Tonight I'd like to recognize and thank Lake Orion Bike and Adventure right here in downtown Lake Orion, especially the owner Mike Warner and his staff, and Michael Kraft, the owner of Wildfire Signs in Oxford, for their generous support and donation to the Lake Orion Police Department. This was on your council agenda for last council. Mike first reached out to me about a year ago, or last year, in the end of last year, about donating 2 electric bicycles, and we've been working together on this initiative ever since to reinvent our bicycle unit downtown. These bikes will be deployed in our downtown within pedestrian-heavy areas, allowing our officers to move to more mobile, more visible, and more accessible to the public. They will especially be valuable during our major special events, helping officers move more efficiently while enhancing our community policing efforts. This donation also fulfills one of our capital needs that's on our capital improvement plan, without the use of taxpayer money, which is just makes this that much more impactful. This is exactly, everybody here, this is exactly what community partnership looks like, and we're very, very happy. I'd like to invite Mike, I guess, the Lake Orion Bike and Adventure and Wildfire Signs to come on up here to give them on behalf of Lake Orion Police Department, the village, and the entire community. So thank you for your generosity and support. So thank you. It's been a long day. I don't have a camera. I would like to get a picture. And we also wanted to bring the bikes in because I can sit up here and stand and talk all day long. Words mean nothing. I wanted the community and everybody to actually see this is what we're going to be seeing downtown on our special events. Hopefully, if all goes well, starting with Flower Fair. So, thank you.
Yep.
And these are our bicycle officers in their uniform that you'll see down there when we're. Okay, so let's let the bikes go center. Okay, come on in here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Those are really bright. I did hear that there potentially is a siren on those things. There we go. We needed the full effect here for those bikes. So huge thank you to Mike and the team at Lake Orion Bike and Adventure Company and to the graphics. Those are really cool looking bikes. I'm a cyclist. I wish I could have some fun blue and red and white, lights up there when I'm down on the trail or something like that. But it's just a great asset for our community and our police department. So huge thank you to those who made that possible for our police department to have those bikes and to continue just to enhance our public safety in the village of Lake Orion. Item number 5, call to the public. Each person wishing to address the village council shall be afforded an opportunity to do so. If you wish to comment, please stand or raise a hand to indicate you wish to speak. When you do, please direct your comments to the chair. Reminder that comments are limited to 4 minutes on non-agenda items. Thank you.
Steve Samet, 245 East Shadbolt. Good evening. First of all, I'd like to say I completely support our police department. Like many citizens, it's great to see our local police patrolling the village and keeping us safe. Regarding the police special assessment that was voted on at the last village council meeting and failed, I don't understand why it's being revisited tonight. On the website, it's on the agenda. I don't see it on the agenda here.
It is on the agenda under the public hearing, and for other items, if you look at like the subpoints for public hearing and for other items under the budget, we will be discussing that and have a public hearing where you'll be able to express
Okay.
opinions
Well, I
regarding
don't understand why it's being revisited tonight. The purpose of this assessment is clear. It takes the control of funding from the village residents and allows the council to control that funding. It also allows the council to avoid the Headley Amendment limits on millage rates. Again, I don't understand how this is on the agenda under public hearings when it failed to pass at the last meeting. Thank you.
Yes.
Harry Stephen, 311 North Shore. Two items for me tonight. Being involved with the finances of the village, I tried to get in and find the proposed budget on the website, and I was not able to do so, although I understood it was supposed to be available on May 1st and then subsequently on May 5th. Second item is in support of what Mr. Sam was talking about. Special assessments are ways to get around taxing, and taxing has got limitations via the Headley rules. So I'm completely against all special assessments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jack Lovett, 573 Bellevue. I just want to say thanks to all the first responders and everybody working on this water situation. I know the township's team, as well as the village's team, has been working around the clock. Chief, you guys have a really good chief here with his clear communication and working through everything. There's a lot of moving parts. It's complicated. And I just encourage people to remain patient. We appreciate all the kind words on Facebook, people opening up their well sources for neighbors to use. That's incredible. And once again, I just want to say thanks to everybody involved in this. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
I got something prepared, so I'm not rambling for you guys. Again, too, I want to thank the Orion Township, the village emergency personnel, everyone involved with the communication during the recent water emergency. Situations like that are stressful for everyone, and the transparency. I think the people really appreciated that. I think you could see that on Facebook as well. But what has happened over the last couple days should be a wake-up call for all of us, not out of fear, but out of responsibility. Infrastructure is not political theater. It is the foundation underneath everything we depend on every single day. Water systems, sewer systems, pump stations, force mains, pressure systems. Most people never think about them until something breaks. But when they fail, even temporarily, it affects homes, businesses, schools, hospitals, emergency services, and basic daily life. I understand these systems are incredibly complex. I understand a regional transmission issue can affect multiple communities downstream. I also understand that many of these systems are decades old and that monitoring them is very expensive. But I think this moment raises an important question for all of us. Have we spent enough time and energy maintaining the foundation beneath our communities while continuing to build on top of them? Because growth means demand. More homes, more businesses, more developments. All of it places additional stress on pumps, lift stations, pressure zones, water mains, and the sewer infrastructure that is already or may already be aging. The village is currently undertaking a major rehabilitation project involving all 16 sanitary sewer pump stations and portions of force main infrastructure. That alone tells us these are not theoretical concerns. These systems matter, and they require consistent investment and long-term planning. This is not about blame. Pipes age, system fails, emergencies happen. But infrastructure deterioration is not unpredictable. Engineers can identify vulnerabilities. Technology exists to monitor systems. Planning exists for a reason. And I think many residents are beginning to ask the same question. Are we prioritizing the invisible systems beneath our communities with the same seriousness that we prioritize development above ground? Because at the end of the day, no matter the amount of growth, because at the end of the day, no amount of growth matters if the system supporting that growth becomes unstable. I believe maintaining the foundation beneath the community should matter as much as maintaining as what's built on top of it. And once that foundation begins to weaken, inevitably, everything above it will feel the impact. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yes,
This one or that one?
doesn't matter.
Why can't we have a system that's like Oxford or any of these municipalities do not send chlorine to their households, to the households? People don't even want chlorine in their pools. If they're going to treat the system, at least take the chlorine back out. Why is that hard? There's a reason why they want it to go into our households. Are we going to get to the bottom of that, or?
It's just so you know, we don't dialogue during public comment. It's
Oh, you
okay.
don't? Okay.
No, it's a way for us to take what you're saying into consideration.
Okay, thank you. I didn't know how it worked. So you said that's my main concern, but he said a lot of it. You know, we have to, as our community grows, I mean, I got an article, we could have hooked up to Oxford in an emergency. I forgot what the article, roughly a decade ago. Like you said, you guys might not have been here. But I mean, and then at the end of the article, it mentioned something about, and I have the article right here, about stealing water from each other, so that may have been why it never happens. Why can't we work together as communities? And again, they don't have chlorine in their water. I know a lot of people that live in Oxford. Why is it coming to our households in this area? From 50 miles away, they decide that. We don't decide our own. We don't decide what we want to do with our own community here to protect it. I mean, whoever's making these decisions, we have to do something about it. Right? It's just for our babies. Do we want to contaminate our babies? Let's work on this, please, guys. Let's think of everybody involved in this, not just the people that are getting the money to keep doing this. Okay? Have a great summer, everybody, and let's try to work together as a community, especially since what's happened in the last 6 years. We have to get together. There's no more division. No more any of this stuff. Thank you, and you guys all have a great day, okay? And God bless everybody.
Thank you.
Good evening, Don Connery, 745 Central Drive. I looked at the presentation that you had online with the PDF where it was speaking about the Special Assessment District, and it had the pros and cons. And the shortfalls of the Special Assessment District, there were two of them listed there, obviously, and they're both very important. It says the Special Assessment are not subject to Headley limitations, which was mentioned here earlier.
So
And
if I can
village
pause you for just a moment, we are going to have a public hearing about the special assessment, so public comment's supposed to be for non-agenda items.
Oh,
So you'll
okay.
have an opportunity to speak on the special assessment when it does come up.
No, let me just make one statement on that.
Yeah.
I know that you're also considering an ad hoc committee to look at making some improvements towards the budget or seeing where you can benefit the budget by getting services maybe from the township, or I think the other opportunity was whether there was dissolvement of the village or not. Looking at the budget as it was prepared there, you've already covered the police for the 2025-6 budget that was listed, so there isn't a shortfall now. I think making a decision to fund the police in a different manner before you've had the opportunity to have this ad hoc committee get its findings, look for them, and make a determination and bring them to you would be short-sighted. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Donald Kindred. I live right up the street here. I'd just like to say I think everybody's doing pretty good on the water situation here, trying to get things going, right? But it bothers me that now that we're concentrating on this, who's looking at the leaky sewer system that's going to be polluting our lakes, polluting our waterways? Who's taking care of that? Now that this has come in, what kind of grant is our state going to give us for this While we're fixing this, what are you guys gonna be doing to still take care of the leaky sewer systems that Mr. Lamb made pretty clear that we've gotta address pretty soon before we don't have a lake to be swimming in? I don't know about you guys, but I think without that lake, this town kind of loses its name. It kind of loses its environment. It kind of loses its draw to bring in more revenue. Who wants to go fishing on a lake you can't eat the fish out of? You know, you sit here and we keep telling you, this has to be done. We already know there's pipes that are broke. We already know that there's things that leak. But where they're getting addressed or not, whether they're getting addressed or not, is a different story. Now, yeah, the pump stations get worked on, stuff like that, I get all this. But what about the leaky pipes that are definitely gonna screw up the water systems in the waterways and the environment? You know, maybe it's just me, but I grew up hunting and fishing around here my entire life. And I've lived here in the last 7 years, 10 years, and I've watched this community, this village, my state land, my lakes, my streams, all go to hell because nobody's putting anything into it. They're talking about it, but it's not getting done. We show you where the problems are. They're not getting done. If they were getting done, we wouldn't have what we have right now. That's all I got to say. I think y'all better sit back and start thinking about where the money's supposed to go. Get it there. Start getting things done right. Take a little tip from Mr. Lamb when he tells you your sewer system's gonna screw up your entire town if you don't take care of it right. People need to pay attention a little bit more around here. I go online and I see people, they say, Don, you get mad? I say, sure I do, I got a reason to. They're not here. They're not here. They'll cuss me out online, but they won't come here. I think something needs to be put in order, and put in order properly, and the money needs to start going where it's supposed to be going before we don't have a village, before we don't have a Lake Orion, and we have a toilet bowl. That's all.
Thank you.
Maybe they could put chlorine in septic too, huh?
I don't get it.
You're a joke. I how long do they think we're gonna do this?
Ryan Allen, I'm your Orion Township Fire Chief. I'm really here to address the residents behind me, business owners, and all those that visit our great village and township, and to say thank you. We have had a heck of a 48 hours within this township, but due to the resilience of the community, and I know this has been said a lot of times, but I think it's important to say here, and to those of you who have come for all the reasons you've come, thank you. It's your efforts that have allowed us to do the things that we've done, to be able to pull together, to be able to make a resilient community. It's the things that we've been able to do behind the scenes that while I know times have been tough, especially for our businesses that we've had to executive orders on for the last 2 days, but these efforts have made a difference, and we're seeing lights at ends of tunnels that originally when this happened, we were told we're 2 weeks out. So I really just want to echo a thank you. Thank you to the support. Thank you to Mark and to Darwin, Wes, who have all put in
countless hours. Never did I think at 2 a.m. I was going to wake up and we were going to go right into action, but it's been great working with everybody and the citizens that have pulled together to be out on the water lines, the people that have volunteered well water to others in need, those that have helped the homes, those that are in the homes that can't get out. It's been an amazing experience to be behind. It's been an amazing effort to support. And so again, I want to say thank you to the citizens because it has been tremendous working with every one of them and getting through this together. So thank you for your time. Unfortunately, I'm going to step in and step out, but I do have a couple other meetings that I wanted to be to. But I did want to come out here and see you all, and then when you see your citizens, the residents, and those that are inside the township, please thank them from your fire department because we are very appreciative of everything that they've done to help us with this situation as well. Thank you.
How are you going to hook up your fire hose without water?
More than happy. More than happy to have conversations.
And thank you to our fire chief for all your hard work. I know if you have some questions, we are going to be adding onto the agenda just an item to increase lengthen the state of emergency for our community to get us through this. And our police chief will give us a brief update at that time. And if council has questions or something, we can address those at that time. But thank you to our fire chief, who I know has been working around the clock as well on all of this stuff, and his entire crew who are working to make sure that our homes stay safe and our businesses stay safe and they have the resources they need should there be emergencies to come up. We only take one public comment per comment period.
Can we hook up to a well?
But
Can we hook up to wells if we want to?
those would be questions you'd have to direct to our DPW director after the meeting. Is there anyone else for public comment on a non-agenda item? Seeing none, I will close call to the public. Item number 6, approval of the agenda. By order of the president, no matters will be discussed after 9:30 unless the council votes to continue the meeting. I do have, for an additional item 10G, would be a resolution extending the Village of Lake Orion local state of emergency declaration related to the Great Lakes Water Authority water main incident to add as item G. And then item E, lot combination 48 and 52 Highland Avenue. I would like to move up to item A. There's an extenuating circumstance. The applicant is here but needs to be able to leave a little bit earlier. So I would appreciate council's consideration of moving that up to item A. So I will move, yes.
Would it be okay if we moved the resolution to item B and got that out of the way for any citizens?
Yeah,
that might
that's
be
fine.
here For the water emergency?
Yeah, that's fine.
And then I'll make the motion to approve the agenda subject
To those, yeah. Yeah, George.
So I'd like to add 2 items to the agenda, please. The first one is the village manager performance evaluation process. This should,
Please, in the audience, we need to be able to hear everybody.
so this should have been completed in March, and we haven't started yet, so I'd
So,
like to.
Item, could you give me a title for that? Item,
Village manager performance evaluation process.
okay?
And the second one would be a status check on our 2026 goals and objectives.
So that would be items H and I. So I'm happy to move to approve the agenda with item E becoming item A, the addition of item B, resolution to extend the local state of emergency, and then the addition of item H, manager performance evaluation process, and I, status check on goals and objectives. Is there support for that?
Support.
Any comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 7, consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are approved by one vote, and I will read those off for us. So item A, approval of Village Council special meeting minutes, April 22 of 2026. Item B, approval of Village Council special meeting minutes, April 23, 2026. Item C, approval of Village Council regular meeting minutes, April 27, 2026. Item D, receive and file correspondence from James Berry dated April 22, 2026 regarding the fiscal year 25-26 forecast and fiscal year 26-27 projected budgets. Item E, receive and file Planning Commission regular meeting minutes of April 6, 2026. Item F, receive and file March and April 2026 Planning and Zoning Monthly Report by McKenna. Item G, receive and file Village of Lake Orion Sewage Disposal System Financial Report for Quarter 1 Fiscal Year 2026, October 1, 2025 to December 31, 2025. Item H, certification of delinquent utility accounts to the 2026 tax roll. Item I, receive and file invoice distribution report for May 12, 2026. Item J, receive and file financial statements of April 2026. And item K, receive and file amendments to Village of Lake Orion 2002 to 2022 Master Plan 2025 Strategic Action Plan amendments. Council. Mr. Dandelides.
So I'd like to pull item F, receive and file the March and April 26 Planning and Zoning Monthly Report by McKenna. Pull that down, please.
Okay. Anything else from council? And then I will move to approve the consent agenda with the removal of item F.
Support.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item now 8A would be receive and file March and April 26 Planning and Zoning Monthly Report by McKenna. Mr. Dandelides.
Thank you, and I won't take much time here. In the April Planning Report, which is page 40 of the meeting packet, it states, they're talking about the tax exempt parcels in the village ROW inventory, and it states that a report has been created detailing the encroachments and the processes, which is to be submitted for village review shortly. This has been shortly, the timing on it has been shortly for probably 6 months now. I would like a date that defines shortly. When will we see this?
McKenna has indicated to me that they should have the report to me this week.
So when will we see it here?
At your next council meeting, if I receive it this week.
So that would be the 25th.
26.
Okay, thank you. So I will make a motion then to receive and file the March and April planning reports.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 9, public hearings, fiscal year 2026 to 27 budget and millage rates. Mr. McCleary.
Your Honor, members of council, council is scheduled to hold a public hearing on the Village of Lake Orion proposed fiscal year 2026-27 budget and millage rates. The council held 4 work sessions in April to review and consider modifications to the draft budget. The changes made by council are reflected in the final proposed budget. As council will recall, the only change that you requested was the creation of a motor pool fund, and the manager's recommended allocation to that fund to begin an equipment replacement fund for public works equipment. My recommendation is to create that fund and make an allocation for the upcoming year of $25,000 into that fund. The proposed budget includes $8,715,272 in total revenues for all funds except DDA related funds, and $8,510,873 in expenditures. The village's taxable value for the ensuing fiscal year will be $211,191,000. After DDA capture, the village's net taxable value is estimated at $163,518,770. The village is proposing to levy 9.7844 mills for charter general operating purposes, 2.5689 mills for police operating, and 1.009 mills under the voter-approved Headley override millage, also for police operations. The total millage rate will increase by 0.7313 mils from fiscal year 2025-26. Alternatively, the village council may opt to levy a special assessment for police services, capital equipment, and housing pursuant to Michigan Public Act 33 of 1951. If the council opts to levy the special assessments, the village's general operating millage rate would be reduced by 3.0761 mils from 9.7844 mils to 6.7083 mils. The police operating and Headley override millages would be reduced from 3.5783 mils total to 0 mils. And special assessments would be levied on real property only for police services and capital needs in the total amount equivalent to 5.8068 mils. The net result is a reduction in taxes for property owners equal to 0.8476 mils. Councilmember Comparoni had requested that this option be placed back on the council agenda for consideration. I know that there was a question about why this question is coming back and whether it was appropriate given council's action at the last meeting. As council will recall, at the last meeting, the vote was 3-3 on this issue, which means that the motion failed. There was, in effect, no action taken by the council, and it is appropriate under Robert's rules to bring this item back to council for consideration as a new motion. I provided you with a copy of the proposed General Appropriations Act for resolutions and budgets reflecting both options for consideration by the Village Council. And Your Honor, at this time, I would request that you open the public hearing for public comment on the proposed budget and the proposed millage rates.
Thank you. And just a reminder to the public hearing is not a dialogue between us. It is an opportunity for you to give us your opinions and your feedback, and then later on it will come up as another agenda item for us to consider and take action on and debate. So public hearing is for your input. So with that, I will move to open the public hearing on the proposed fiscal year 2026-2027 budget and millage rates.
Support.
We have a motion and support. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The public hearing is now open. Yes.
Okay, so what I'm learning, the school bonds are a problem, right? We know this. So anybody that's losing their house over taxes, all they have to do is what? Challenge it, right? The tax base. Is that what we need to do? So we know about the school bonds. We all know about it, right? So let's fix that too. Let's work on that too. I mean, what do we want to do to our community here? What's going on? Let's work on this. Right? Taxes shouldn't be, my son can't even buy a house. He was looking at a house right over here on, what's the name of the road right here? It runs next to the restaurant in the plaza, Atwater Road. $6,000, $7,000 for a house that's half the size of mine a year. I mean, where's all the money going? Where's it going? Do you guys got spreadsheets where all this money is going? That's per house. Do you guys provide spreadsheets on all this, where this money is going and where all the statistics and everything? Nobody can answer, right? No one's allowed to speak. Only when you want to.
We will have discussion on this agenda item.
Only when you want to.
Yes, Mr. Samet.
Steve Samet, 245 East Shadbolt. I appreciate the village manager's comments on why this is back on the agenda. I really don't understand why in the last 2 weeks it's been worked on when there was a motion that failed to include this, and now it's reappearing. And again, it takes the taxpayer control away. It helps defund the DDA. And, I just don't understand, why this is on tonight's agenda as part of the budget review.
Hello, Don Connery, 745 Central once again. I just want to read a few of the things that Mr. McClary didn't have the opportunity to in his summary, that the infrastructure shortfalls is to decrease 238,000, almost zero for fiscal year 2026-27. Less funding will be available for the DDA district public improvements. Public improvements, as we've heard from other meetings, is where you capture that 25% and use it for other parts of the village for funding. So you're going to have less funding available for that. The special assessments are not subject to Headley limitations. Village council can levy the police special assessments after a public hearing at any rate it deems necessary. As mentioned, that takes it away from us. The reason for the Headley is that it can cap that and that the taxpayers have some say in this. If you do this, it takes away all saying for the public. Additionally, with the DDA, it says, what's the impact? Less funding will be available for DDA public infrastructure. So I think I looked it up, and it had the address for everybody in the village, and it might save me less than $300 for this one time, for this year. Next year, all bets are off, because you can't tell us, any of us, because if they come back with another budget and say, I need 10 new police cars, $50,000 a piece, we're at $500,000, you're going to say we have a shortfall, and then you're going to look at it and you're going to say, well, we're just going to increase the SAD and everybody's taxes will go up, and we don't get a say in it if you guys vote, in the majority to do so. Again, I think it was settled by Darwin. It was 3-3 last time. That meant it failed, and now it's being opened up again. Failed is failed. I think what I heard Darwin say is nobody acted on it. So there wasn't closure last time to say it failed, let's move on, and it left a loophole to bring it back up. I think you voted. I think you heard everybody in the public's comments on it. We'd like to see that not go forward today. And we'd like to see it closed out so it doesn't come up yet again. Thank you for your time.
Guys, how you doing again? Justin Jurgens, 258 Lakeview. I won't go through everything. You guys know where I stand on this from last week. My concern really is Councilmember Camperoni bringing it back up. He was a no vote last week, so I understand that a 3-3 fails, but my concern today is if Councilmember Camperoni is bringing it back, why? He was a no vote last week. I think that's important to understand. You've heard everybody else here, and I'm not going to repeat what I said last time. Everybody knows how I feel. This is an extremely short-sighted, in my opinion, Band-Aid for something that should have been processed and thought out long before. If we're outside of our budget now, why? We got to work within the money that we allow for these services is what I believe. So obviously I'm extremely against a special assessment district for the police department. Thank you, guys.
Donald Kindred, everybody knows where I live. I've sat here for the last 7 years, and I've watched all the residents in my community, all the citizens of the village, sign petitions to have the police department disband into the chartership of township, into the chartership of Oakland Township. And we sat here and we told everybody what we wanted, and you want to turn around and throw it in our face and bring it up a second time. Why is it every time we ask for something and we vote on it, and the people tell you, we tell you, we come right out and tell you what we want. You'll find some loophole, some way to jump back around it, have a council member bring it up back into the picture. We didn't want it to begin with. That's why they said no. How's the saying go? No means no. Is it that hard to figure out?
Harry Stephen, 311 North Shore. First off, I would appreciate if the mics were used and put in front of you when you're talking. Several of you have very soft voices and it can't hear you in the crowd, so if you would kindly move them towards you, it would be appreciated. Reiterating what I
wish I had that problem.
reiterating what I said at the public comments, I like to review budgets and things of that nature, and because I couldn't find it on our website, I had to wait until this weekend's publication of the files to be able to read it, so I couldn't really scrutinize it to the full degree. But in what I've interpreted is that there were no financial adjustments made by council during the 3 meetings that you had having this session. And the only one was to make a change in the accounting systems by the capital or the motor fund type thing. But really, we should be challenging some of the numbers that are presented to us as council people, as opposed to just taking and signing off on the numbers that were presented to you. On the subject of special assessments, reiterating, I think they are evil. It's something that has seeped into our system. We now have policies that include special assessments, and it is another way of dragging money out of the citizenry at the control of the council, and I think it's evil and shouldn't be done. Thank you.
I think there was one in the back. Yeah, first.
Hi, Lee Marriott, 191 Park Island. And I wasn't here for the last meeting, but I guess just looking for a little bit of clarification. There was a notice that said that the village is starting a committee, a council committee to study consolidation possibly with the township for some services. And some of the services that would be part of that, I would assume, is this police force. So I don't know why we would bring up a special assessment for the police force if maybe we're considering consolidating that along with the township. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And I don't agree with having a special assessment for something for the police force that we can't vote on. I mean, we have a small village. I know it's got to be 50% of the vote to have it passed normally, but a special assessment takes that out of everyone's hands. Thank you.
You're only allowed to talk on an agenda item one time per person.
This was a different item.
Here, he spoke.
Yes.
Yeah, you already spoke on this agenda item during the public hearing.
My name's Todd Spina. I'm 753 Central Drive. And at a minimum, I would say that we need to at least wait until the results of the ad hoc study are completed before any movement on this SAT assessment is moved forward. So as Donald was pointing out, second year, there's no guarantee of anything, and we don't get a say in any of it. So at a minimum, I'd like to see that committee results first. Or recommendations, I guess.
Good evening, Jim Barry, 85 Crescent Avenue. Just a couple of things. One relative to the police special assessment. I am against it. I still believe that if we establish a special assessment, we reduce the millage on a comparable basis, that as we move forward year after year, it'll just get lost. We'll forget about the special assessment, and the millage will go up accordingly based on the budget that is submitted. And again, as some of the others have spoke, I think special assessments are a bad thing, and, you know, it does not get, I guess, part of the normal budget millage process that we all review. So anyway, relative to the budget, as you guys know, I did sit in several of the budget work sessions. I did get responses from our village manager, and I appreciate that. But I would reiterate, as one or two of our people here have said tonight, we did go through the budget. We did not make any, I'll say, significant adjustments to take out cost. I know we had several members who were trying to do that through the process and got very frustrated relative to not taking action to dig in, reduce cost, and try and come up with, I'll say, a surplus to help fund our other items that are necessary relative to the infrastructure. And again, just looking at the audience, you know, everyone knows who wanted to dig in, address the budget, reduce cost. Again, I think Darwin has answered my questions. He had good answers, but we did not challenge the budget to the extent that we should have. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam President, members of council, Matthew Gibb, Downtown Development Authority. My biggest concern is the timing of the consideration. DDA budget is likewise on the agenda tonight. It's the middle of May. Your fiscal year ends in about 45 days, just as ours does. Tonight would be just the commencement of a process that would require the writing and drafting of an ordinance. If it's already been done, then I think the comments that's made tonight should be echoed about 800 times louder, because what a presumptive effort that would be to not have direct input. As far as the DDA is concerned, we've increased all of our contributions to the extent that we can in meeting the commitments to what I think is really finally, after a couple of years, a tremendous working relationship. It's been evidenced the last couple of days with the chief. Mr. Sanchez and the DPW and the DDA have been working fabulously together in the last period of time. We've sat down, negotiated what would be reasonable to help continue to fund public safety out of the DDA. Likewise, Mr. Sanchez and I recently agreed. Mr. McClary has raised at one of our recent meetings that he has some fluctuation with the millage. We're willing to acknowledge and accept what his math is. I think that there's a really, really solid working relationship that is now moving forward between the DDA. To try to do this very rapidly, I just think is really bad policy. And certainly the DDA would be in a position we would have to start our budget process over, which I know shouldn't be a driving factor. But for you to go through the process of adopting language over an assessment is going to push you into June. There's really no other way to do it lawfully and properly. That's really just bad form. You have committees that are being formed to explore how we can do this even better. We've got these great working relationships that are moving forward. The DDA has committed more funding. The 75-25 is actually working. We've done a project now. This would really defund that. It would take, as Mr. Dandelides said at the last meeting, over the life of even the next 10 years, millions of dollars of forecasted capital improvement funding that would go towards future projects within a large portion of the downtown. It's not our role as a DDA to do anything other than comment and advise. On a personal level, I think this is a great long-term project. To do it in a compressed fashion right at the 11th hour of a budget process is really, really, really inappropriate policy. So I would encourage you to look at this as long-term instead of trying to put a Band-Aid on a short-term idea. Thank you.
Anyone else for our public hearing? And I will move to close the public hearing on proposed fiscal year 2026-2027 budget millage rates.
Support.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The public hearing is closed. We will get back to this item in a few agenda items. So new item A, lot combination 48 and 52 Highland Avenue. Mr. McClary.
Your Honor, members of council, the village has received a request for a lot combination from applicant Edward Sable. on behalf of the property owner, John Gerke, for the properties located at 48 and 52 Highland Avenue. The proposed application seeks to combine two existing parcels into a single lot, and I provided you with the information on those two parcels. The first parcel, 48 Highland Avenue, is currently occupied by a single-family residence and has a lot area of 4,677.4 square feet. The second parcel, 52 Highland Avenue, is also occupied by a single-family residence and has a lot area of 4,185.9 square feet. The application has been reviewed for conformance with the provisions of the Lake Orion dividing and partitioning of land ordinance. And on May 4th, the Planning Commission reviewed the request and recommended approval to the Village Council.
Council.
I move to approve the lot combination as submitted.
Support? Any council comments? Any public comments? Seeing none, we have a motion and support to adopt the resolution approving the request. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item B, resolution to extend the Village of Lake Orion local state of emergency declaration. Chief Evanson.
All right, thank you all. Thank you. So it's been a busy few days, as we all know. So I put on your agenda packet here on May 9th, because of the Great Lakes Water Authority incident, that the village president declared a local state of emergency pursuant to the Michigan Emergency Management Act, Public Act 390 of 1976, in response to the ongoing water main leak in Auburn Hills and the potential for rapidly changing conditions impacting water service reliability. In our meetings, we decided to proactively declare this a state of emergency because it was leaking, and if this did happen, we'll say at 1:30 in the morning on Mother's Day, we would be more prepared to handle this. Less than 24 hours later, we had to declare actual rupture, a further emergency act under the same order when the actual main break ruptured. This declaration, like I said, is proactively to ensure the village could coordinate emergency response efforts, access county and state resources, and support our operations and provide protection of public health, safety, and welfare during this crisis. The Village of Lake Orion continues to work closely with Orion Township, Oakland County Emergency Management, Great Lakes Water Authority, and regional public safety partners, especially our fire department as well, regarding the coordinated response efforts, public information, which is huge in a crisis like this, and emergency preparedness planning and our community support efforts, which we're taking on now as we're winding this down over the next week or so. Additionally, the state of Michigan has subsequently declared a state of emergency related to the incident and associated impacts to the regional water infrastructure and public health protections. The Emergency Act allows the village president to be the sole signer of this emergency declaration. That emergency declaration is valid for 7 days. Prior to the expiration, which it will expire on May 17th, we need a full resolution by council to vote on this. So this action before you is to extend the emergency declaration for 60 days, which is the maximum, or until council votes, or terminates it earlier by vote. Our intention is once this emergency is over, we will bring it back before council to remove this declaration. And the motion's before you.
Thank you. I'll move to adopt the resolution extending the Village of Lake Orion state of emergency declared May 9, 2026 and reaffirmed on May 10, 2026 related to the GLWA water main incident through July 9, 2026 unless terminated earlier by Village Council.
Support.
Council comments or questions? Yeah. Mr. Lamb.
So I think we should.
Bring your mic down, please.
I need the microphone, Harry. Sorry. Can you hear me? Madam President, I think we should make a point to cancel the declaration as soon as possible, because things are going along nicely, I hear, and I'm really proud of the way the staff and the other communities have banded together to make sure I could flush my toilet even in this emergency situation. So, but there's businesses that are suffering. My car wash is suffering. and they're gonna lose, 52%, 1/52nd of their annual income during peak season because of the water. So I urge everyone to, as quickly as possible, save the car wash, and that'll be our new mantra here in the village. Save the car wash, people. We have 4 car washes. Okay, it's a huge economic impact to the community. I know it sounds silly, but somebody's got to speak up. And thank you very much, Darwin, for bringing
Just
us,
got to get rid of this system.
bringing
setup
us
we've had.
some bottled water for the
Gotta
first
stop
time.
getting the water where we're
Excuse me,
getting it.
we don't shout public comments without being acknowledged. Thank
That's
you.
the truth.
Thank you. I think Chief Edmondson, you had a comment related to that.
Yeah, and thank you, Councilmember Lamb, for your comments. I want to make a comment reference to the business owners. We are, first, if we did not take the proactive measures that we did when we did, we started on this Wednesday night. We've been off and on 24/7 since it started leaking. When this broke at 2 a.m., 1:30 a.m. on Mother's Day, we started getting the calls around 2 a.m. We had a full water distribution site set up by 9 a.m. here and also in the township at Wildwood Amphitheater. And because of the proactive measures that we made in the war room, is what I like to call it, in the Emergency Operations Center, if those tough decisions on this emergency declaration were not made, I will tell you probably by afternoon yesterday, you would have lost water supply in this entire area. You would have not have been able to flush your toilet. And at that time, we were looking at a 2-week, which would have caused a humanitarian crisis. So very, very tough decisions were made. Very, very tough decisions are continuing to be made. But there is hundreds and hundreds of people, much smarter than myself, experts in these fields, that are working 24/7 on this to bring this township and to bring this community back to normal.
They would have fixed it a long time ago.
We do not interrupt from the public.
Excuse me,
Thank
Teresa.
you.
I was interrupted in my comments by this gentleman. Chief, you've just taken all the rest of the words of what I was going to say out of my mouth. I wanted to thank the village manager and yourself and the DPW director for keeping me intimately aware of everything that was going on. And I was going to tell you that it's amazing that they were able to reroute that 16-inch water main through Pontiac to get water to us up here, and then that we could flush our toilets. And the amount of work that I've seen, my son reported there were 20 trucks at the site, huge pipes, equipment has been staged since the weekend, and you guys hired a contractor, and an amazing amount of work. I saw a picture of the new pipe going in the hole, and this all happened in a couple days. So my whole comment was going to be to tell you guys you did a fantastic job. And the point of the car wash was to say that those people will be very grateful to you.
No.
So thank you very much, and I think you could not have handled it in a better fashion. And I think that Supervisor Barnett offering to take responsibility and lead the effort and take all that burden on himself and any possible negativity. I want to thank him for that too. And thank you, Teresa.
Councilmember Lamb, thank you for your comments. And I want to thank Supervisor Barnett for his leadership. And Darwin and I have spoke about this quite a bit as well. This is what true leadership looks like, and I'm proud to be a part of that team. So we are doing everything, and now our focus is on the community and on the businesses. We're having constant meetings about what can we do for the businesses, how we can get them back online as soon as possible. We're working on lots of things. Obviously, we need experts involved. We need the scientists at the Water Authority involved. There's a lot of moving parts, things I had never even comprehended before. I sat through about 75 meetings in the last 5 days. So with that, no, we do appreciate your comments. We appreciate your support. And if you have any other questions, please, I think this would be an appropriate time to answer them.
Mr. Cambroni.
Now, what if the state of Michigan decides next week it's no longer an emergency? What would we still have it, or how does that work?
So the state of Michigan has declared a state of emergency on top of our local declarations. What that opens up state funding for potential reimbursement down the line. That opens up state equipment, depending on how long this goes. This will not be closed as an emergency until the community has usable drinking water. And we're not under this advisory anymore, so that's not a concern of mine.
Other council comments? Yeah, Ms. Mulder.
I just have to ditto, following it, just getting the text, 2 a.m. in the morning, you're having a conference, and I'm very impressed that all of this has been going on and all of the work that everyone has done, including Orion Township, and it's just been a huge thing. So when I woke up this morning, I of course turned on the news because I wanted to see, can I flush my toilet? Can I do a quick shower? And so the information that has been given, and it's been wonderful. I mean, everything on the website, everything that we get in texts, emails. So I just appreciate everything. And we did fill our tub up with water, just in case.
So we can only flush our toilets or what? That's what I'm asking.
So in just a moment, I'll take any public questions or comments. Any other council comments? So I also wanted to reiterate the thanks to our administration. I know it's been tireless work, sleepless work in order to help us navigate this. And then also thank you to our surrounding communities. I know many of them have, helped in various capacities, whether it's inviting people over for showers or other local businesses helping our local businesses. And I know that they took a hit on Mother's Day, no less. That's a really hard time. No time is a good time for any of our businesses, but it's a really hard time. So I know we are all going to show our local businesses some love when they are back online and they're back open. So just want to say thank you to our neighbors. And, the mothers whose husbands have been in the office and in the control center on Mother's Day, the moms who came into work on Mother's Day. So never a good time, but I wanted to say thank you to all of those who are supporting this and to the residents too who have helped us navigate. Reiterating our chief's comments that it's what's enabled us to still maintain some sort of water pressure and water supply. It's because we banded together. Chief.
I have one last comment. I'm sorry to interrupt, but as positive news, we're all working towards resolutions on this in trying to help our business community. I mean, myself, I've talked to several news agencies and interviews, and we're focusing on the business community. What can we do in the future? The township and Supervisor Barnett, we are looking towards the future to heal this community from this economical travesty, what it is. And part of that process is I just got word. We've been having a lot of discussions about Flower Fair, which is this weekend. Hey, they require water, they require bathrooms, all this stuff. So we've just made the decision, and it's been passed along to me as final that Flower Fair will go on as planned, starting on this weekend. So we have, a place to, hey, let's get the community out and back involved and back in our community. So good news, we're progressing, we're moving towards a conclusion. We just need us to stay focused on the goal to make sure we see this through all together as a community. Thank you.
Yeah, and for continued updates, the township website has a lot of information, oriontownship.org. Our website will link there as well. But just Chief, if I know there are a lot of questions on what is the status, what can we do, can we not do, just for the audience here, those who may be listening and have not seen the latest updates.
Are you asking me that?
I am asking you.
Or are you asking me different questions? So all of what you can do or can't do is posted on the Orion Township webpage with the same text message group that we're all on that we mentioned earlier, text messaging. I don't have the number on me, but it's all over our Facebook, all over Orion Township's Facebook for up to the date. The most common questions that I've heard, now keep in mind, things are rapidly changing, so we need to stay up with the information, but water usage is for sanitation purposes only. So I've been asked, can I flush the toilet? Absolutely, that's what sanitation is, flush your toilet, okay? We don't want the community to be not having flushed toilets, that's gross. Also, can I take a shower? So we ask for simplistic showers. That doesn't mean filling up jacuzzi tubs, a bathtub. That doesn't mean going in and taking the 30, 40 minutes singing in the shower. It means take a simplistic, economic, get yourself clean, sanitation purposes, shower, and turn the water off. That's the direction we've been given. And the recommendation from the township, from the health department, and the Great Lakes Water Authority. We're going to continue regurgitating that. Our staff, Orion Township staff, has a list of frequently asked questions, and these are the frequently asked questions when they call in there. There's tons more, and if there's a specific question, I'll be glad to answer it as best I can or refer it to the appropriate place if I cannot answer it.
Thank you. And we are still under a boil water advisory, correct?
We are still under a boil water advisory, and I would expect we will be under a boil water advisory until this event is over, from now until it's over.
So boil water for drinking only.
Boil water for any kind of human consumption, yes.
Any, so if you're doing pasta, well, with pasta, you can just boil it, but, for a minute. But, so any drinking or anything like that,
Correct.
that would be, what we have.
I'd even take it a step further. If you have animals, you have dogs, boil the water before you're filling up their water bowls, or use water bowls. Our water distribution center sites at Wildwood, over on Jocelyn by the township at Wildwood, and over here at Atwater Park have been so much. I mean, the support from the community. I don't even know how many 5, 6 semi-trucks of water we've had donated. We have our water buffaloes up. We will be up there 8 a.m. till 7 p.m. until further notice, delivering water, staffing that with our volunteers until further notice. So keep in touch with Orion Township's webpage, our webpage, the text updates for the most current, because things are going to change. Like I said, we have no less than 10, 12 meetings a day, it seems like. I lost count. I think I got another one in about 45 minutes I may or may not make because of this meeting. And things are constantly changing. The models, the evaluations are changing. So the community council and everybody needs to pay attention and keep up with the change. And we're doing our best to push communication out as quickly and as fast as possible. The only way we win here is transparency and communication. That's the only way. And we're doing a good job, and we're going to continue doing a good job until this is over.
So my understanding is Wildwood and Atwater.
Correct.
Are the two, people can go and get like 2 gallons of water.
Correct.
Per day.
No. So I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
So we have the 2 locations here, and there's also Auburn Hills has a location on Brown Road at their DPW yard, the one in the township and the village. We do give 2 gallons of water as a standard. We also have case water, 24 bottle case water coming in by the pallets. We'll have 5 pallets there tomorrow to start off with, and we'll order more as we need it. But if someone comes and says, hey, I have an elderly mom at home, I have kids at home, and they need a couple extra bags, I mean, this is for the community. We're supporting the community. We're not checking IDs. We're not asking questions. We are getting people water. It does not matter to me or to any of us or any of these volunteers, limits. We're not rationing. We have so much water. We're going to have trouble getting rid of it. We're going to give people as much water as we can to make sure that they feel safe and secure during this crisis. And
one other question is that available for people to donate to give water, or are we not doing that right now?
I would say at this point, the donations are handled. If there's a point where we need more donations, requests will go out. But like I said, we're receiving semi-trucks that are going into a warehouse in Oakland County in Pontiac, and then we're going through our incident command and emergency operations center to put these requests in for all 3 locations to get water delivered. And as of right now, we have no shortage of water. And the positive news I have been hearing, I believe we will have enough water to get us through this event.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any public comments or questions? Yes.
Hi, I'm Mary at 191 Park Island. So just clarification, I understand the water usage for residential households, and, us personally, we've been doing all of the things that we can. But businesses, I guess I don't understand what businesses are supposed to be open, not supposed to be opened.
Can I answer?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a constantly evaluated circumstance. Currently, right now, all businesses have been closed with the exception of essential services. We are, the township especially, we've been in some meetings, we're having conversations because we do not want to suppress or hurt our business community. We're doing everything we can to get this moving forward as soon as it's safe to do so. As the fire chief has said, you know, one of our major concerns is pressure in fire suppression, where not only are we concerned about losing water, we're concerned that we can protect the community. Now, they have so many plans and MOUs with neighboring communities that I am fully confident that any fire emergency they can handle, but it would cause a strain on them and put people potentially in risk if they have a sprinkler system and there's not enough water to pressure that. If they have a fire hydrants in the area and there's not enough water to pressure that. That is constantly being evaluated, and once it's safe to open the businesses, we are going to open the businesses as soon as we can once that decision's been made. But we've had that exact discussion probably 15, 20 times in the last 9-10 hours since this morning, and even last night as well. So we're doing everything we can.
So I have friends that have the restaurants that were hit pretty hard, being Mother's Day that happened. But then, you know, I had a friend stop by the house today, and she said, I was surprised. I went to get a massage, and the massage place is open, and they're in there doing their laundry, et cetera, just as normal. So that doesn't make sense to me.
The police department has been getting a lot of calls, and keep in mind, this emergency happened on the fly. So when we came in, we mobilized, we were getting calls, we were going to businesses, we were educating people, you know, and getting, you know, like I saw on the chat room, the sprinklers came on at this location. Well, we're monitoring that, and we're getting people out there to get their, you know, our DPW director is going out there turning off their sprinklers when we can't get a hold of somebody. Just getting that community awareness, and it's not going to be perfect. I mean, I had conversations with some stores like Menards and stuff that they're watering their plants, you know, and I called the manager, you know, me personally. So we're doing everything we can to make sure people are in compliance. And I'll tell you, this community has stepped up. And if it wasn't for this community and the sacrifices of this business owners, we would be in a much worse humanitarian crisis. I don't, you know, one day I hope the public and community realizes that these tough decisions probably save lives, you know, in the end, because water, you don't realize how valuable of a water resource it is until you're about to lose it.
No, everything, you guys have been doing a great job.
No,
And thank you for the council for everything that you do every week and month. But I just wondered, like, with something like that, I don't know if you can't knock on every door and see everything. If that's something that, you know, we should call, if we see something that maybe is in question, and who would we call?
We're not going into people's houses and checking how long their showers are.
No,
but
no, no.
If we see their sprinklers
No,
on,
I'm,
we're gonna
example,
address it.
like that, like.
Yeah. If their sprinklers are on or something like that, we will knock on the door and, you know, help them. Sometimes people don't even know how to shut their sprinklers off.
So
you
would
know.
we call the DPW,
You can call
the police? Okay.
the police department on our dispatch. We have been getting numerous calls on it on a constant basis, and we're sending people out as soon as we can to address it. It's actually a lot better today than it was yesterday, but you should have saw, you know, we can see the water rates, just how it stopped and how this community responded, and we're doing everything we can to get this business community back, and we are going to make sure we take care of you in every way we can, because we don't want you hurting.
It's much appreciated. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, hello, esteemed council. I'm Matt Pfeiffer, 497 Bellevue, and I just wanted to commend your team. Mark has been the face and the one that's been in the 10 to 12 to 15 meetings a day. The cooperation between the village and township has been, there's no daylight. There's zero daylight. So regardless of some of the things that, you know, challenges we face, there is no daylight in this response for the citizens. And the chief has done an incredible job leading and being a part of things, and obviously, I've seen you and Stan, and I think Mr. Papachek out at the township at different times, so we appreciate the support. And just a little context that we think hit stronger with a lot of people on the restriction for the businesses. As a business owner, my business is closed. And that is what we've asked all of our businesses to do, except for essential, which, as the chief mentioned, we're talking about grocery stores, we're talking about pharmacies, we're talking about, medical response. But the more restrictions, gas stations need to be open, but we need to keep the water use down. And as the chief mentioned, the response from the community was awesome. When we asked for that, and it was a concern, it was awesome. We could watch that water slow, as he mentioned. But if you think about the firefighters and you think about these restrictions, because people are confused, their faucets work and we have some water, and we do because of a lot of different things happening behind the scenes to try and make sure we keep some pressure in that tank and keep some water in there. Our firefighters are on mandatory overtime. They're working extreme hours, and they're dealing with a lot of stress. Because some of those guys are out having to talk to the businesses to explain that they can't operate, and here's why. If there was a tragedy, that's when this will matter, and that's when people will say, okay, it was the right thing to do or wasn't the right thing to do. But the firefighters are exhausted, they're stretched thin, we have limited amounts of water to use for the fight if there were a fire. And when businesses are open and people are conducting business, that increases the odds of more things that could happen, more properties in play. And that would be a sad end to this story. So the team on all sides, quite frankly, the county, the state jumping in to help, the village, township, the schools, this is what our community is all about, and it is showing. And all the great, if you caught the story of all the people in the neighborhoods that have, we've got a well, come on up, and that is what is going to be remembered after this. We're going to be through this. We're going to be through it pretty soon. But the cooperation of all of us and of all the community members and our residents standing up as they always do when there's a crisis, that's what's going to be the story that's going to play out. So just thank you for the cooperation, the involvement, and keep up the great work, Chief.
Francesco Comandera again. Yes, again, I love the transparency of it. There was nothing better than seeing all those things happen, but a little bit of tough love here, guys. This is your job. This is what you're here for. I want to commend the fire department, the police response and everything, but this is your job. And I think that that when it comes down to it, it's like business versus people. I agree that the businesses matter, but I did my walkabout in town. Cookies and Creams was still open, serving stuff today. The Ed's on Broadway was still open. The flooring store is still open, and I agree with all of that. My main concern, because everyone's worried about the businesses, but when I woke up that morning, I was crying because I was imagining all of those elderly people being rushed out, in the middle of the night. And that's who I feel for, and I'm not trying to dismiss any of the business owners, okay? And I don't want to start anything. But maybe a silver lining with Wes here, I sent this to a public official, is that, during the state of emergency, perhaps that's a way for everyone here to take advantage of some of the repairs that need to happen in the village. God forbid if the water pressure goes to zero, that is horrible. But perhaps that would give you guys an opportunity to assess things that you're not able to assess when there's water in the system. Just trying to think outside the box, because even at Kroger, I went at Kroger, talked with people at Kroger today. They got one bathroom in the back of Kroger. Everyone out there supplying you with all your food, with all your water and all your essentials have to share one porta-john all day. Think about that too, along with the firefighters working overtime. That just, with all the sad things that are happening, maybe we can take advantage of fixing some of these situations that could have been addressed earlier and I don't know, I'm just trying to think outside the box, you know? So, I appreciate your time.
Any other comments on the motion that we have before us to extend the state of emergency? Seeing none, we have a motion on the floor, motion to adopt the resolution extending the Village of Lake Orion local state of emergency. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to what is now 10C, adoption of fiscal year 26-27 budget and millage rates. Mr. McCleary.
Your Honor, members of council, you're being requested to adopt the resolution approving the Village of Lake Orion fiscal year 2026-27 budget and millage rates. You've been presented with two resolutions. One, if the council desires to move forward with levying the millage rates. The alternative one, if the council wishes to move forward with police special assessments.
Thank you. Council.
So does this need to be separated into two pieces where we have a decision relative to special assessment versus millages?
It would be, you make a motion for one or the other.
I get that, but do we have to decide? It seems to me that we got to decide first, are we going to do a special assessment or millages before we can approve a budget, because there's two different budgets depending on where you decide the first one.
Yeah, so we could do it that way, just decide that, or we could approve the budget with the millage rate or approve the budget with a special assessment, if that makes sense.
George, may I make a suggestion, please?
Yes.
I had the same concern, and what I would think is we may just temporarily make a motion to suspend the rules of order in order that we may have discussion on the topic prior to a motion being made. So that way, instead of going back and forth, we just suspend the rules for this one item so that we can allow discussion prior to taking action. And that way, everyone can ask their questions and get clear before, that way we don't have a negative situation perhaps where we have, negative stuff. Just have discussion first. So I'd like to make a motion that we suspend the rules to allow discussion prior to deciding to vote.
Is there support?
Support.
Any council comments on the suspension of the rules? Mr. Camperoni.
Oh, it's just, I'll wait till the next one.
So
So we don't have to make any rules. I would like to just to do away with what's going on here. Because I requested it.
Okay, so first, we have a motion to allow discussion before the motion.
And the point of the discussion, how will we know when we're done with the discussion?
Well, it was the other discussion, as I wanted to ask Darwin a couple of questions, and
So are we discussing the special assessment versus
yeah, the millage.
the millages?
Yeah, or do you want to discuss them individually, or just have a vote? Whatever makes it easiest for you.
I don't want to discuss that special assessment between you and me, but
Yeah.
if that's what we're going to do, I'd be happy to engage in the discussion.
Yeah, it's not my idea. I'm not the one that proposed it, so.
So we have a motion currently to suspend the rules to allow discussion prior to making a motion. Does anybody have a comment on that?
Yeah, for the only reason I would ask for that is because George brought it up again, that there was a conflict. So there's a couple questions that people have raised from Darwin, and I have a couple questions to ask Darwin to clarify, and then put it to the vote. I'm all good with it.
So we have a motion on the floor to suspend the rules to allow discussion prior to a motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Dandelides.
Okay, so I'll start with the discussion. So I passed out to council and staff, as well as I had copies I didn't anticipate this big a crew, so you can share. These are my thoughts and my analysis of going with a special assessment versus millages. So the first page.
Sorry about that.
I thought you were hitting the camera.
No, it's just his nameplate.
So the first page is the same as what I showed last week, or 2 weeks ago, and it's basically just a kind of a summary of the millages, the differences in the millages, some examples of what the differences in the 2026 taxes would be, what you'd see on your tax bills, and then the revenues generated. So what I wanted to focus on this page were the infrastructure fund, which are dollars that are generated by the 75-25 agreement between the village and the DDA that generates dollars to the village to fund infrastructure. And per the information we received, in 2026, the 2026-2027 budget alone, the village would lose roughly $245,000 in infrastructure funds in this budget year alone. And then if you extrapolate that out, if you look at what that would accumulate to in the life of the TIF, we, the village, would be giving up roughly, about $5.5 million of infrastructure money. So the second page is kind of the summary of the considerations. The revenues generated, again, it's basically neutral to the general fund, the police operations, DDA, and the capture from outside taxing jurisdictions. Again, the significance is the 75-25 infrastructure fund and that $5.5 million loss to the village over the life of the TIF for infrastructure. As was mentioned by several of the residents here on the limits or the lack of limits without voter approval, the police millage currently, the current plan, requires if we're going to have a tax that we have a vote. Okay, we put it on the ballot, we have a vote. If we do the special assessment, which is the proposed plan, by reducing the levied millages with the special assessment, the taxes levied in future years can be increased simply by a vote, a four-person vote of this council. We could increase those millages to that Headley limit. So it would take it out of the voters' hands and put it with a vote of 4 on council. Similarly, on the proposed special assessment, the other side of that, that's also a four-person vote of this council, not a vote of the citizens, which I think several people had mentioned in the public hearing. The other thing I wanted to mention is the give back to taxpayers. One of the things that we've said as a benefit is that by doing the special assessment, our residents would see a reduction in the 2026 village taxes, the total. So I've looked at those numbers, and 406 of the 1,476 parcels in the village, or 28%, would see less than a $50 difference in their tax bill. So if we adopt this special assessment plan, 30%, roughly 30%, will see less than a $50 difference in their taxes. 460 of the 1,476, or 31%, would see between $50 and $100. 381 of the 1,476, or 26%, would see between $100 and $200. So if you look at those three pieces, 1,247 of the 1,476 parcels, or 85%, would see less than a $200 savings in the 2026 tax year. And who would see the savings? So if you look at the other side of the spectrum, McDonald's, Mosherry's, CVS, Walgreens, Tire Warehouse, Spare Box Storage, the Michigan United Credit Union, and a couple of the plazas and a couple of the apartment complexes. That's who would see the couple of $1,000 savings in their 26 taxes. I put together a pie chart which kind of shows that, shows the 85%. That's page number 3. And then relative to the calculation of the $5.5 million that we would lose over the life of the TIF in infrastructure funds, page 4 shows you how my calculations were done. So those are my comments relative to the special assessment.
Thank you. Other council comments? Mr. Comparoni.
All right, I'm going to make it perfectly clear. I accept the vote that we did last time. I'm not trying to make a new motion for a new vote on this issue, none of that stuff, but I don't want it to be put to bed. I think this is a good program, but it needs a whole lot of tweaking, like Mr. Gibbons had mentioned. It can work, but not right now, especially at budget crunch time. So I don't know what the procedure would actually be, but I just put that back on here for, informational, plus look at all the people it brought in. Just think what's gonna happen next time I open my mouth. But I don't know how we would wanna do that, or if we have to vote on this, I would suggest everybody just say no for now, but I don't want it to die. I don't want it to close. I want to be able to talk about it maybe in the middle of the summer when we don't have budget stuff and all that kind of things, and just talk. So that's the reason I brought it up, just to keep it going. I do support the last vote.
Thank you. Other council comments or questions? Mr. Lamb.
Eric had his hand up first.
Yeah. No, this is a tough one, because in general, I'm not a big fan of special assessments. But I hear a lot of the feedback too. It's getting more expensive to live in the village. And we've heard that on and on with water bills and everything else. And I thought this was one option presented to us where everybody's taxes decrease, essentially. Everybody saves a little bit of money. So it felt like from that perspective, how many times in your life do you pay less taxes? It's not very often, and maybe it's not significant, but it was something I saw, I think I would say, as an efficiency play, because I think in Darwin's analysis and explanations initially, it was, it's getting more expensive to operate a police department, right? And a special assessment maybe offers a little more predictable spending. It's hard to say. I'm not really in fear that we're, as residents up here, gonna vote to shoot up special assessments in the future. I'd like to think council is doing the right thing to trying to save people a few bucks. And I always looked at it as reversible. If we don't like how it goes for a year, change it back. There's, go back to millage. I'm stuck at, we can keep doing things the way we've done them the last 10 or 20 years, and we'll keep getting the same results, right? Expenses keep going up. Budgets keep going up. Here was an opportunity, I think, as an efficiency play. All the money allocated to the police to fully fund our police budget, which we all love and appreciate, it was going to be a more efficient spend with no carve-off capture that goes to other means. So, it's one of those, it's a tough, we're going to get to a point where police budget, it's going to just keep getting more and more expensive, and I don't want to be at the point where we have to cut police services, right? I don't think anybody wants that. So it's a budget crunch, I just looked at it as a chance to change with a relatively low cost. If people don't like saving a few bucks next year, you change it back. You put guardrails on it with how much of an increase things can go up so that, like I said, I would think council would do a responsible thing. We're all residents up here and we don't want to continue to keep paying more. But again, I think there's communities that have done this. One I saw, there's at least a handful, Vicksburg, and they continue to vote the special assessment year after year because it's viewed in their community, similar size to Lake Orion, as a success. So I enjoyed the exercise. I think it was interesting to see and to have this back and forth and dialogue, and I certainly heard from a lot of people are 100% always opposed to special assessment, which I get because I tend to lean that way too, but I viewed this again as kind of a low-cost opportunity to look at something a little differently, maybe get us out of this status quo mentality with costs and taxes and everything, water up, this was a chance to see a little bit of a decrease. I know others have comments too.
Thank you. Mr. Lamb?
Thank you. I have two questions to ask Darwin, and then Darwin, what's the total allowable millage, general millage, that the council can levy against the citizens? And where did that come from? The general millage. What's the total allowable
Our
millage?
current capped millage?
Yes.
or-
No, the current millage that the charter and the state law allows us to levy.
The charter allows us to levy 20 mills. That was adopted in 1967.
So the village can levy 20 mills without any citizens' votes for the operation of the village?
No,
Okay.
because Headley has rolled back the millage rate from 20 mills to the current 10.02 mills.
Okay, so we're limited by Headley, correct? Okay. Now, the police millage, so you said last time that the police millage is a supplemental millage passed by the village people to help pay for the police, but our police millage does not pay for our police. It pays, you said, 42% of our police budget.
It pays for, correct, 40-some% of the total police budget. The rest of it comes from the general fund.
So what is the police budget limited to by the vote? What was the approved millage for the police? Sorry, I didn't cut it.
I think it was in the presentation what the original maximum, the original approved millages is in that presentation.
Yes.
But, so it was, I don't want to, I want to say without looking at the numbers. Can you give me a moment?
Sure.
It's on page 194.
Tracy, you're the best.
Do you have it, Your Honor? Can you
Yeah,
just read
it says
off there?
the village is currently levying 2.847 mils for police, operating .2013 mil for Headley override. Headley has rolled back the police maximum millage rates to 2.5689 mils and 1.2432 mils respectively for fiscal year 26-27.
So
But the millage
So the
rates-
combined would be 3.7, about approximately 3.8.
The millage rates were actually higher than that when they were approved, though.
Yeah, they approved,
Yeah.
you're looking for the.
Yeah.
the
Oh, the
approved.
approved, when it was
The
approved?
original
Police mills
approved
That the voters
numbers is-
approved, yeah, that the voters approved.
I want to say the Headley override was 1.44 some mils. Let's see. Sorry, I have to go back to the. Oh, thank you. So the original millage rates were 2.9885 mils for police operating and 1.4467 mils for the Headley override.
Okay, so now we're at, so that's 4.4 mils. And what are we at right now with the proposed budget?
The proposed budget is 3.5 mils, 3.5,
3.5783.
yeah.
So it's within the discretionary authority of the village council to raise the police millage by up to another 1 mil, correct?
Approximately,
yeah.
yes.
So the point of that numerical thing is that Darwin's proposal for the SAD was not an attempt on his part or the council's part to override the Headley Amendment or any voter-approved millages. Okay, that's the simple point. The point is that he was just coming up with an economical way. So this year, in budget option 1, where we don't do the SAD, we do the traditional method, we are going to raise your taxes by 0.78 mils across the board for all of you to fund the budget. Now, you can say it's the police this, the police that, but actually, you see the relationship that the general fund pays for more than half of the police. So the other point is Darwin proposed with the special assessment that it's a one-year thing. It's not a perpetual, a special assessment, it's a one-year deal. He was going to actually reduce everybody's taxes by that formula, just by collecting money in that fashion, by 0.8 mils. So what you're going to get is you're going to get a tax increase from this village council this year. And every year that I've sat here, I've told you I would not increase your taxes. So I'm going to vote no on that because that's my promise to you. Now, how you see SADs and millages, this village is screwed up. Okay? We've got to fix everything with a special assessment or with a user fees, increased water and sewer fees, because we don't have any money. And what I explained to y'all last time, that 3 years ago, I personally did everything in my power to remove the village police. We were down to one full-time officer, Officer Todd, and he was the chief, and no one wanted to come work here. The village council, with the support of the village manager, decided that they wanted to have a police department, and that's what you all wanted. I supported that because that was the community speaking that we wanted a police department. We have a police department now that's almost adequately staffed. We're trying to get the zoning and code enforcement out of the police department so they can be handled separately, because it's another issue. And the village manager has come up with a proposal to save you guys 0.8 mils this year on your taxes. Okay? So you're all here for some reason, because I'm going to give you one more little statistic, because I have to use the words DDA in any conversation that I have with you. Out of the 7 people that spoke, at least 4 of them said the reason they didn't want, the reason that you want me to raise your taxes is so that the DDA can have money from the police to fund infrastructure within the DDA district. You're not coming out to my house on North Shore to use that money to fix my road or to do anything for me. And you know what? I've walked the stream and the creek bank in the community, and I've been on every sidewalk. So I don't understand. So I'm going to tell you, I don't understand. I'm not promoting this because it's any one of Mike Lamb's plans to defund the DDA. Even the DDA director's budget isn't changed by this because it's going to take the money out of that 75-25 plan, which I think is illegal anyway, and have said so for 5 years. Okay? So when we raise your taxes in about 10 minutes, all right, and I vote no on it, I just wanted you to understand that Mr. McCleary's attempt to save you money was not an attempt to override state law, usurp your authority as voters. Because I've noticed in this village, in our charter, which I've read thoroughly, the village council has tremendous powers over you that you people don't even know about. Because the way our charter is set up, where we can take your money, special assess you, we have public hearings, but it's not a public vote. So when they talk about 4 members of the council, I believe I take this job very seriously when it comes to our tax dollars, because that's my job here. I don't care what any other, we fight, we talk, we bicker like children, but my responsibility is to shepherd your tax dollars. Yeah, so that's it. That's why I'm going to support this, because Mr. McCleary, who gets paid very well and is extremely skilled, came up with finally, somebody came up with a way to save you some money, and you're going to beat it down, because once again, the police money should be spent in the DDA district, and you guys should keep paying for it. That's fine. You want your taxes raised? Go for it. But I didn't do it.
I'll make my first comment, and then you. So I wasn't here at the last meeting, that's why it's 3-3. But when this first came up, I was intrigued by it because, let's investigate, let's learn, let's see, what the impact would be on this community. And the more I looked at it, and the more I read research by the Citizens Research Council, which is a nonpartisan research council that researches different issues related to politics and local governance. When I read articles from them published over the last 10 years or so, they were sympathetic to budget constraints by communities, but they were adamant in that these ad valorem special assessment districts are not the way to go about things. I very firmly believe that it is not the intention of our village administration to get around voter approval on things. That is not the intention at all. But it does open it up in future years for increases, for uncapped increases. That does get around voter approval. And so when we look at this, it uncaps that. It allows, as other council members in the public have stated, it does allow the police, a potential police special assessment to increase with a vote of 4 council members. And like Mr. Papachek said, I would like to believe that whoever is sitting up here would take that into careful consideration, as we are all taxpayers as well, but that offers no guarantee to any of you. So switching to a special assessment district does go around voter approval to a degree. And so as I read some of that research, I just could not be okay with it. And then as Councilmember Dandelides put together a pretty thorough presentation there, I had started to do some crunching some of my own numbers and came up with pretty similar numbers to Mr. Dandelides, and I heard some of the comments about being short-sighted from public comment as well. And, you know, we have water mains that will need to be replaced, phase 3 and phase 4. I don't have the exact number, but my rough estimate is about 50% of those sit inside the DDA district. So with that public infrastructure fund, the DDA infrastructure account can write a check for phase 3 in a couple years when we undertake that phase 3. It was phase 3 or phase 4. One of them was in the DDA district, can write a check for that and save your water rates from going up. So when we talk about the benefit to the whole community of this infrastructure fund, no, it's not going to pave Bellevue. It's not going to pave some of these streets outside of the district. But when we have water mains that lie within the DDA district, it can pay for those. And when it pays for those, that means your water rates don't go up. So when I think about the long term, I understand it's a marginal tax savings for us. I looked at my address too to see how much I would save under a special assessment district this year. I'm well under the $100 mark. Yes, it's a marginal tax savings for this year, but there's no guarantee for next year. And when I think long-term, so we've heard with the sewer lift stations, nobody saved money for the last 50 years, last 40 years, last 30 years, last 20 years. Well, this is a way in building up this infrastructure fund that we are saving money for these infrastructure needs. Yes, they have to be within the DDA district, but many of these infrastructure needs benefit the whole district, but the whole village. And so when I look at it from all of those factors of going around voter control, reading some of the research that independent organizations have done in regards to ad valorem special assessment districts, and how even though they're legal in the state of Michigan, it doesn't fit the intent of what a special assessment district was supposed to do. Even though courts have upheld this type of special assessment, it doesn't fit the intent of what they were supposed to do. So when I combine all of those pieces, I can't in good conscience support moving to a special assessment district at this time without any other further compelling reason. Mr. Dandelides.
So in my mind, this isn't about funding the police, because the police budget, if you look at the 2 budgets that are presented in the agenda packet, the police budget is fully funded in both budgets. So it isn't about whether or not we fund the police. And it's not even really about how we fund the police. When we talk about not accepting change, and if we do things the way we've always done them, we'll get the same results. If you think about it, the 75-25 agreement is the change, or at least is a change. And Mr. Lamb, when you talk about whether or not it's legal, as I recall, it was that language was developed by both the attorney for the DDA and the attorney for the village. So I find it hard to believe that it's not legal, okay? But the 75-25 is the change. We've not embraced that change. We haven't bothered to take the CIP and map it into that 75-25, the dollars that are generated. And it's a big change in 2028 when some of these developments come online. the magnitude of the dollars grows. You can see it very clearly in page 4 of what I put together. So when you look at the dollars that are generated, we've not bothered to go take the CIP and map it into those dollars generated and see what it truly does for us. So I think we need to embrace the change we've already got. Let's see what it'll do for us and go from there. We want to throw the baby out with the bathwater before we've analyzed where it'll go, what it'll do for us. So I just think going down this path right now is the wrong move.
Any other council comments?
Sure.
Yeah, Mr. Lamb.
Because my bath water right now is cold, okay, because I can't run my hot water tank. You know, what I'm hearing from council and what I've been hearing for the last year is let's perpetuate and maintain the status quo. You didn't hear me. I'm not talking to you, George. And I'm not a status quo guy. Okay. So there'll be no change made in this community because the leadership doesn't want to affect change. You guys come here and you talk about change, but we're not going to see any change. So if you don't want any change, that's what you're going to get. Okay, you've got great ideas. We have a lot of new faces that have come with their ideas, and it looks like they would like to affect change. If you guys just want to maintain the status quo, please let me know.
I'm one of them.
Okay, and I will, stop. It's hard work to come up here and try to make change, and then have everybody claim they want to make change, and then no one will change anything. I want to address one comment since this is a budget. There was one comment made by the citizens about us not taking any action on the budget. Now, I looked at the budget carefully for 5 years, and I dare say I'm as knowledgeable about the budget at the upper level as anyone in the village. Our village budget is pretty lean. So the important topics that were brought up to cut the budget were things like, let's get rid of the lifeguards, $37,000. I said, great, you want to do that? I'm support you. Nobody came up with a motion to get rid of the lifeguards. There was some other action we did get rid of. We decided to not put the $80,000 basketball court in the park. Great, that was the cost savings that we all agreed on. And the DDA picked up the slack. They're broke. They had to fire their director because of the village cost them to fire their assistant director because of our demands on them. But they had 80 grand to pay for the basketball court or whatever, or some of them were closed. This is some ridiculous stuff that goes on here. And so I told the last meeting, I'm going to repeat it since there's a lot more of you here. If you want to cut the village budget the way it's structured now, fire one of these people or fire the police, because that's the only extra money there is in our operating budget is our staff and their ratty old vehicles. You've been to the building, you've been to the DPW yard, okay? I think that the management here, Mr. McCleary, in our budget has increased our fund balances every year that he's been here. So that means he's been saving money and cutting the budget. And it's time you guys need to stop whacking at the tree and look at the field. 22% of our budget, tax dollars, go to the DDA. The DDA gives us kicks back money to the police, the village, the DPW, okay? But state law doesn't allow them to just give the money back, okay? So it's called making systemic change in our society for the good of all. You can call that socialism if you like, but I'm a capitalist. So I pay the money into the pot and then we spend it wisely. So when we have a minimum budget that barely provides basic services for our citizens, what do you want to cut? Oh, let's not pave the roads. Let's not fix the sewers. Let's not fix the water. Well, we tried that for 25 years, guys. So what have we done here to change any of that? We've increased your water and sewer rates by double. We're going to increase them again. and then we're gonna pave our roads with special assessments, which is the way it's done, okay? But I may not even get our road. Our road is, on our street, I had the little old lady across the street came over and said, when you guys pave the roads, will you please do it right this time? You know, because the last pavement, they spent $20,000, it lasted 5 years, and it's eroded away because they used one of the little stopgap methods. So, that's where we stand. I'm done. Thank you. I
do want to make one quick clarifying comment. The DDA Assistant Executive Director is not being fired because we have to pay the village an administration fee. The DDA is trying to be the most efficient that they can with taxpayer dollars. And sometimes hard decisions have to be made. So it's not because we have to help, you know, contract with the police or the administration or DPW. So to say that mischaracterizes it. And the DDA did not just find $80,000 for a basketball court. That came out of the 75%, the 75-25 infrastructure fund. So they didn't take money that would have been for a salary for a basketball court. It came out of the infrastructure fund, which is exactly what it's designed to do, to free up general fund dollars for other needs in the community while it takes care of infrastructure things. And parks and our basketball courts, they are infrastructure needs as well. So I just wanted to clarify those items. Ms. Mosier.
So when I ran for council, my biggest thing was the infrastructure. That's what I ran on. I talked to the people, I walked the community, and it's great. We're getting some of that done now. We're getting it done, though, all at once. So it took a bit for Mr. McCleary, when he came, to get the ball rolling. It's unfortunate that everything seems to be happening at once, but that's the way it is. We need the roads fixed, we need the sidewalks fixed, the pump stations are on their way. I don't know about any of you, but I enjoy seeing my police. I am happy that we have more police now, and I really like it when they pull people over for speeding. I do, because when they're speeding through downtown, and I enjoy seeing them there, and I'm glad that we have more of them. So I understand that a special assessment, I think there's a misunderstanding of where the money's going and how it's going to be used. But, and you know, everybody hears special assessment and nobody wants that. But you have to, you're all saying, oh, it's a community, it's a community. We love our community. Well, if you want a small town community, there are certain things about a small town community that you have. And one of them is the police department. And I frankly don't feel that the special assessment in the end, you have to look at the long term, is it's going to be better in the long term than you're thinking it is now in the short term. And then the other thing is that the whole thing about, you know, the basketball court, well, I mean, that was a huge, I mean, lots of discussion and talk, but we have the water, we have the sewer, we have the stuff that has to get done. And what needs to be done and what is an essential and what is a luxury are different things. We are not Ferndale. We are not Royal Oak. We are not Birmingham. We're a little community of under 3,000 people. And so the roads haven't been done. Nothing's been done in 25 years. And so unfortunately, yeah, we're all gonna pay. I mean, that's the way it is. It has to be fixed. The infrastructure has to be fixed. But there are also things that I feel, you want to be a special community, well, there are certain things that make it more personal. And I'm happy we have more police. And I know some of you don't agree, and, but I'm happy with that. Our chief is doing an excellent job. Our force is doing an excellent job. I know some of you don't agree, but it's that you want a small community, you want something that's like, a special community. Well, that's part of it. And so, I think you have to kind of open your mind up to changing your thinking about some of this stuff. And I know you think special assessment and, you freak out, and we all do. But, start thinking about what you think the special community is and what it should involve, because it's all part of the whole big picture. So, I'm not a mathematician. I don't figure out the numbers, but I just think you have to kind of start thinking outside of the box and thinking about what it is you want as this special community, because, we start cutting everything and then you don't have anything in our little special community. So, that's all I have to say.
Mr. Papacek.
Yeah, and just to reiterate, build on a couple of points, that where we were looking at it, I think, from the budget standpoint, is top-line revenue, general fund in the village isn't growing. It's not huge. We're a smallish village. We need to be efficient with every dollar that comes in. And I think Mr. McClary's proposal here, what really stood out to me when he presented it the first time, he had a bullet point, and it's in last time's packet in his presentation. The police millage rates are higher than otherwise needed to account for DDA capture of the portion of the police fund tax revenues, thereby resulting in a higher cost to taxpayers than is necessary. That's it. We're paying more than what's necessary. This was a way to save money. I still look at it as efficiency and see how we like the savings over the course of a year. If it's not working, roll it back. That's it.
Teresa, can I ask the police chief what he thinks?
If you would like to answer, he's not obligated to.
Do you have any comment you'd like to offer, Chief? You were part of this budget proposal.
Yeah, okay. So basically, obviously, I'm not the financial guy in this matter. What I care about is getting my police budget funded. The one thing I want to recognize is our police budget is about 15% behind Oxford, which is extremely comparable in officers. And we also fund our entire code enforcement unit with our same police budget on top of that. When it was brought to my attention, I said, hey, first and foremost, I don't ever want to even hear anything that's going to cost people more. It needs to be neutral or a savings, whether it be $50 or neutral. And so far, I'm okay. I want to make sure the DDA didn't hurt from it, because I think what they do is very important in the community as well. And the numbers I saw is they have a small net increase as well. The biggest concern I have with the current setup is our police millage. Someone said, I don't remember who, funds about 40 to 45% of our police budget. What concerns me is the transparency of what citizens think they're paying for police, because they look at their tax bill and they see police millage, they think that's what the police cost, and that's absolutely not even close to what they're paying for police. So I think the transparency fails our community on that. The idea of this SAD would also be one cost, and everybody can see clearly what they pay year in and year out for police. So if there is a slight increase, we don't know. We fund the rest of the police budget through general fund millage. So if we increase the general fund millage, like, you know, the budget, the citizens, I don't think they would even realize it unless they're forensic accountants and analyzing every line. The cons of it are the word SAD that disgusts a lot of people. You know, I'm sure people are sick of hearing that in the village. And another con is you really have to have trust in the community, and the community has to have trust in us, I should say. And, you know, I've been working on that for 2 years since I've been here, is building trust. I'm going to continue to build that trust, you know, and I want the community to know I want the police budget funded with whatever direction the council goes. Those were my reasonings for hearing it out and hearing what people had to say, because I want to maintain and continue to build that trust, you know, when these things are presented. This isn't, we're not trying to hide stuff. I want more transparency of what the community realizes. So, and I did see a lot of the financial benefits. So that's why I'm here listening. Obviously, I care about my police budget funded. I'm waiting for direction and approvals of how we're going to do that.
Thank you. So I think I'll entertain a motion from the council, and then I would open it up for public comment on a motion. Mr. Danielidis.
So this is going to be a motion on special assessment, right? And I think that's what we're looking for. So
Yes.
I will make the motion that we maintain the millages and do not go with a special assessment for 2026, 2027 fiscal year.
I'll support. Any public comment? We'll go with Lee and then Mr. Stevens.
Sorry, just a question. So I guess I don't understand, because there's the general fund and the police fund, but the police fund isn't the total amount for the police. We take some out of the general fund. So why don't we just, since it's coming to budget year, why don't we just change it that this is the amount that is for the police and not have it included partially through the general fund? Why isn't it just a separate line item, the total?
So, Mr. McCleary, if you want to
That's
that.
what the special assessment would accomplish. Because the millages, the millage rates that are permitted for general operating, the police operating, and the Headley override, if you take just the police millages that were approved by themselves, it's not enough to fund the police department. It never has been.
Right.
General fund has always had to contribute toward the police department, except for 1 year. Well, I would say every year. There's only 1 year where the general fund contribution has been less than what was generated through the police millages, and that was only a difference of $1,000. But for the most part, general fund has been covering the majority of the cost of the police department.
I didn't bring my...
The special assessment, if special assessments were levied, the general fund millage rate would drop by the amount that general fund currently contributes to the police fund, which is $503,000 a year. So we would drop the millage rate by that amount in general fund. We would do an increase in the effective millage rates under special assessment to fully fund the police department through special assessment. So now on your tax bill, instead of seeing the 2.8 mils currently, the 3.5 mils proposed for the upcoming year, everyone would see on their bill a special assessment of 5.8 some mils. That would be 100% of the police funding. So you would see exactly how much you're paying for police versus everything else. So a special assessment would accomplish that. To address the comment about citizens having control over the police special assessment, it is correct that citizens would not be able to vote on the special assessments. We would have public hearings. actually 2 public hearings on the special assessment where citizens could come out and say, number one, you think that it's necessary, and then a second special assessment hearing on the special assessment itself and how it impacts you particularly. There would not be a vote of the people on that.
Right.
But our council members are elected by the people. And if our elected officials are not doing what pleases our voters, there are other ways to deal with that. Recall, or at the ballot box at election time. So you do have, citizens do have control, voters do have control, not in the same way. But, so I'm giving you the information as it is. Ultimately, the council's got to make the determination as to how they want to proceed with this. I do want to say that we need to make it clear that if we're levying the millage, a portion of what you are paying for police services is not going to police services. It's going into a DDA fund for infrastructure
And I'm
improvements.
fine with that.
So what you
So-
voted to pay for police services under the tax levy, not all of that tax levy is going for police services. Portion of it's going to the DDA.
DDA, yeah.
So I just want to make sure it's clear and everybody understands exactly how it works. But from administration's standpoint, our position is there are needs that the police department has to be able to provide high-quality law enforcement services to the community. It includes staffing, it includes equipment, it includes the technology needs and everything else. Whether we go with the millage or whether we go with a special assessment, we've proposed a budget to the council. The council has not made changes to that. So either way, administration is confident that the police department is going to be adequately funded.
So if it's a special assessment, none of those funds go to the DDA?
None of the funds would go to the DDA.
I like that the funds go to the DDA, but I appreciate that paper that you handed out. That report was great. I guess I'll have to reread it because I thought with the special assessment, it actually lowered the amount that went to fund the police.
No.
But I must have misread that.
No.
Okay.
What it does is it lowers the amount that taxpayers have to pay for the upcoming year for police services because none of the police money is going to the DDA. So you are not paying the extra amount that would go to the DDA.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Samet. Oh, sorry, Mr. Steven, you'll be next.
Steve Samet, 245 East Shadbolt. I appreciate everyone's explanations. I'm very pro-police. I enjoy having our own police force in our village, and I think it's one of the keys to the village. I'm paying almost $13,000 a year in township and village taxes. If my bill goes down $200 a year or $300 a year at the expense of funding future infrastructure, I think that's a serious mistake. That's the problem that we're currently having, is that we haven't funded our infrastructure. And so I don't want to see that change happen. So I'm pro-millage and against the assessment.
Thank you. Mr. Steven.
You know who I am. 59 years ago, some wisdom people wrote a charter for the village of Lake Orion. That's a long time ago. And in that charter, they allowed a special assessment, and that was for the maintenance of our sidewalks. And that was the only special assessment that was allowed. Until just recently, our council, some of you and others, adopted an ordinance allowing special assessments for various activities that go on in the village. I think that was an error in the first place, and now the application of another situation using special assessments is equally wrong. It is just another way to finance activities that are going on. The street program that we have going on is not correct. The streets are part of our village, and they should be maintained by the village, not by the residents. I've put my tongue in my cheek and said that maybe some of us ought to put a toll booth on the corner of our streets if we're going to be paying privately for having our streets fixed. And I believe, if I'm correct, that maybe Central also did a special job on their street to get that done. I'm not sure, I'd have to ask Don about that, but totally against special assessments for any activity that goes on in the village. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Pfeiffer.
Joanne Patterson, 65 North Shore. The only thing I want to say is it's always been a very small village, as we think. It isn't that anymore. It's very dared across the street on Flint. There is so much traffic. There is so much going on right now. And it's wonderful. I'm glad we're all here. But it is not a little village anymore. It's big.
Thank you. Mr. Pfeiffer, and then.
Matt Pfeiffer, 497 Bellevue Avenue. Great job on the handout to Councilman Dandelides. There's a lot of conversation there. There's a lot of different things that were said, and I wish I had a pen and not as long a day as I had today, but a couple of things stuck out. One is Councilman Lamb mentioned that he people wanted the police and supported the police, and he wants to do what the voters want, and I appreciate hearing that. But he followed that up again with another attack on the DDA. And the DDA was also, went to a vote of the people, and the DDA was supported by the people in this community. And it is tiresome to hear it brought up at every meeting as a place to try and find money for the financial woes, especially when it ignores the capture from outside of our community. So the DDA, right now, I think the number, and I'm sure it'll be corrected by somebody, but about $850,000, I think they contribute to the village operations and to pay the bond debt. That's a substantial help to the community. But there's hundreds of thousands of dollars that are captured outside of this village through that DDA capture. And that money has value. And what this demonstrates quite well is that, well, I am 100%, and if anybody had any doubts about your police chief or the police force here in the village, hopefully the last few days, if you're watching what they're doing, would sway that. You have an amazing department here, or we do. I am a village resident. But an SAD, it's a non-starter for me. We watch a lot of your meetings, and the community watches a lot of the meetings, and they're challenging. And you guys have a board that is passionate, which is awesome. But when we put the SAD in the hands of a village council that is having a lot of other issues and structural issues and challenges, I'm concerned that that could become, by some, working votes and getting to a point where they can make increases that we, the residents, would have no say in. And I think that's a bad idea. And yes, as your village manager, Darwin, mentioned, sure, there's recalls and there's votes. Well, you have 4 years, and recalls are a heavy lift. And so those are very hard to execute, or they take time, and a lot of damage can be done. The key is, money's what everybody's talking about. You're talking about the budget, you're talking about the issues. And what this really well and clearly states is we're going to give up a bunch of it that this village needs for infrastructure by making the wrong choice here. So I think it's pretty clear, and I've heard enough common sense out of the council that the SAD doesn't make sense for this village at this time as a financial move. But the village needs to make changes. They have made changes. I loved the point of the 75-25 being a change that was made in terms of DDA funds for the infrastructure, but hasn't even had a chance to work yet or been utilized. And we need the infrastructure money more than anything else. Last thing is, when you separate police from an SAD, what you're doing is you're siloing your budget. So now, police is a separate budget, and it's going to run on its own, and next year, maybe we have some tough things happen, and the council has to come back and increase that SAD because of those tough things. If we don't have the SAD and we have a millage, what the council has to do is look at that budget and make choices over the overall budget. But once you silo the police money out, that is no longer part of the calculation, which is good to protect the police, but it gives the council less things they have to calculate into their budget, and I think that it's good for us to look at the overall budget with the challenges we have. Maybe someday it'll make sense, but if you look at some of the SAD cases, one was mentioned that might be working. There are plenty that aren't, and there's some good evidence out there of councils that were voted out right after voting in an SAD. So I think it's really important that you guys are focused on the budget, focused on the numbers, supporting our awesome police department, but fiscal discipline is what we need, and giving up hundreds of thousands of dollars potentially that could be used for infrastructure is a risk. And somebody had mentioned our revenue's not growing. Our revenue's growing. Your village revenue is growing, and it's going to grow a lot more over the next couple of years. So give it some time to work out and let the change that's already been made take effect, rather than institute another change that's going to cancel the change that was already made and head a different direction without testing it. So those are my thoughts.
Thank you. Yes.
So I'm assuming that Atwater Street and then the street that runs back into Bunny Run, how many years were those roads treacherous? Couldn't do anything about those.
Bunny Run is outside of the village.
Excuse me?
Bunny Run is
Oh, is it?
outside of
Okay, I
the village.
didn't, okay, so what about, right where the roundabout? And then you go down and it curves out into Bunny Run, right there, just right by the roundabout, and none of that's the village? Okay, so special assessments, and this might be for Mr. Pfeiffer. A perfect one is Dirt Clarkston Road. What about that bridge that we have to wait for, but yet you got extensive bridges running through the woods? Who's going to maintain that?
That is also outside the village.
Excuse me?
That is also outside.
No,
the village.
that's what I thought. That's why I'm looking at him.
So that would be a question you would have to ask him outside of this
Right,
meeting for
okay.
our village budget.
So this is where we got to watch what we're doing, right? We got a dirt road that leads down a beautiful trail next to it over there, which I know you guys might not be responsible for it. But I mean, now we got bridge, but person's got to wait on each side. The bridge looks like it's ready to fall in, does it? Getting ready to fall in, right? Who makes those decisions? And then who's maintaining these wood bridges everywhere? Nobody wants to talk about that, though, do they? All right. Yeah, well, no one's allowed
You
to
can
talk.
have a conversation
No one's
outside.
allowed to talk, right? Unless you want to. Have a good day, everybody.
I just thought I'd bring it back to point. You've got a 2026-27 budget. It's funded either way. You're looking at a SAD. You don't have time to evaluate the SAD, write it up as Mr. Gibbs said. So vote on the 2026-27 budget as it stands. If you want to take a look at the SAD, look at it. Some of us are still concerned, will we save money, Mr. Lamb? Yeah, this year, but there's no guarantee of next year, right? And I know everybody on the board here is trying hard and looking to save us money, but, you know, we've got 20 years and everybody's saying, well, we didn't fund the infrastructure, we didn't fund this, we didn't fund that. For all those reasons. Now we're supposed to think, well, okay, this board's going to make all that funding happen, and you don't need the vote of the public. You'll make the decisions for us. We prefer to make our own decisions. So please vote on the topic at hand. Let's close this one out and then start another special meeting for the SAD or another ad hoc committee. You've got an ad hoc committee that's looking at how do they save revenue, where can they save costs combined. I believe that's the purpose of that. And they've got to come back to you with a report in June. Create it, get those people on there, listen to what their findings are, make a decision then. Don't make it today. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments? So, yes.
Well, y'all know about how I feel about the police department. I have nothing personal against them. I like the chief. There's a couple other officers that I don't quite get along with, but I don't think that's the issue. I think the issue is the citizens of our community have had petitions signed enough to show that they didn't want a Lake Orion Village Police Department to begin with. And Ms. Mosher here says, you know, we live in a small village, you know. Well, that means we really don't need that many police. Let me see, if I turned on my television when I was a kid, I used to watch Mayberry. All right? Guess who handled their whole village? 2 sheriffs. A sheriff and a deputy. Now, in 8 months that we went without a police department patrolling our streets because they all resigned, because we had petitions put together to get rid of them and they knew it, our sheriff department did a wonderful job patrolling our streets, and it didn't cost our citizens any more than they already pay them now. You people want to keep taking more money out of our taxpayer dollars to fund part of the police department when it's not even needed. And then we sat here and listened. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Excuse me. Mr. Frank, could you tell me how much money did they come up with that the police department would roll into over, what did they all just figure out? Almost four or 5 million? Yeah, almost $4 or $5 million. I think our sheriff department covered this village for 8 months perfectly. We didn't have no crime. We didn't have people getting shot in our backyards. We didn't have people dying in the apartment complex. We didn't have people getting run over on 24. The sheriff did a wonderful job. And everybody wants to keep putting more money into the police department. We've got a sheriff on the lake. We've got the DNR on the lake. Why do we need to pay our police department to patrol our lakes, to ride around in a boat that we pay for and waste gas when the sheriff and the DNR are already out there? Why do we have to waste money on a Can-Am, the fuel for the Can-Am, the upkeep, the maintenance? See, when I say a boat, I don't just mean a boat. You have to take care of the winter upkeep. You have to take care of the maintenance. There's a lot of money that goes into our police department when we already have the sheriff and the DNR that patrolled this whole area my entire life. And people want to say, well, Don, if they didn't have the police department, how much money would they have? Well, you just sat right here and told us all, pretty close to $5 million, that could be going somewhere else. We have our sheriff department. We have our state troopers. We have what's coming to be continental marshals. And you people will learn about them in the future. They are our U.S. Marshals that actually hold the highest authority. You know, we got to get back to our real Bill of Rights, our constitutional way of living, and the real American way of living. Because the way you people keep jumping through hoops to avoid everything we, the citizens, keep asking for is sickening. It's literally disgusting. And you all sit here and act like it doesn't happen. We sat here 2 or 3 weeks ago when I was here, and I watched Mr. Lamb literally jump up and try and change a vote that Ms. Mosher made. And Ms. Rutt, you jumped up and told him he can't do that. I agreed with you because it was already done. But there better be some things changed around here. Because the way I see it, the sheriff's department, our state troopers, and our DNR have done a heck of a good job. Now, if you want to keep our police department, sure, transfer them into the township of Oakland County. Let them get trained like the sheriffs. Let them become a sheriff. Let them go get trained to become a sheriff. You want to keep
No,
your cops
your 4
working?
minutes are up, Mr. Kindred.
Oh, I didn't hear the bell this time, I'm sorry.
It was silent.
Sorry. Have a good night.
Thank you.
I'm going to make a comment because of that. I'm a little confused on numbers right now, but I just want to say, to me, police are like infrastructure to me. With all the events you guys have downtown, I do like having the police around. It does make me feel safe, and I think it makes the community feel safe. And I believe it is a necessity. This is a growing village. We are not Royal Oak, but we are kind of, I'm looking at numbers, it looks like it may potentially be something like that on a small base. Please don't interrupt me. I didn't even want to give comment here, but my name was brought up. I just want to say I support the police. Those seeing the bikes, I don't know. There's a lot of kids in this area. There's a lot of parks and there's a lot of bars. So when you have kids and bars together that close, I think it would be stupid not to have a police department. And considering what's happening with the township, with them not being able to get numbers from the county executive, I'm sure you guys don't want to have that kind of issue in the future, having to figure out what you're going. At least the village is telling you what you're going to have to pay, as opposed to, the county just doing whatever. So, thank you.
Other public comment? So we have a motion. If I could have our clerk restate the motion for us.
To maintain the millages and don't move forward with special assessment for the 2026-27 year.
Thank you. So I'll actually ask for a roll call for it. Thank you.
President Rutt?
To maintain the millages, yes.
Yes, maintain the millages.
Yes.
Councilmember Dandelides?
Yes.
Councilmember Rocher?
No.
Councilmember Lamb?
No.
Pro Tem Ford?
Yes.
Councilmember Camperoni?
Yes.
Councilmember Papachek?
No.
4-3, motion passes.
Thank you.
To maintain the millage rates.
Then I will make a motion to, just let me get to the right page, to adopt the General Appropriations Act resolution providing for the general appropriations of the village for fiscal year 26-27, adopting the fiscal year 26-27 budget and operating tax levies pursuant to the Michigan Uniform Budgeting and Accounting Act and Village Charter, and authorizing certain transfers between budget activities.
Support.
Other council comment related to the budget?
No.
Public comment? Do I need a roll call for the budget?
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Papachek?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
No.
Councilmember Rocher?
No.
President Rutt?
Yes.
Councilmember Dandelides?
Yes.
Pro Tem Ford?
Yes.
Councilmember Camperoni?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-2.
Thank you. Item 10B, approval of DDA proposed fiscal year 26-27 budget. Mr. McCleary.
Your Honor, members of council, you are scheduled to consider approving the Lake Orion Downtown Development Authority proposed fiscal year 2026-27 budget pursuant to the Michigan Recodified Tax Increment Financing Act, Public Act 57 of 2018. As you are aware, the DDA Board of Directors has submitted its proposed budget for council's consideration, and you reviewed that budget during your budget work sessions. I have recommended some changes to the budget that was submitted to us, just for corrections, so that they can be considered further by the Downtown Development Authority Board. The DDA current real property taxes, the figures had to be corrected somewhat based on the millage rates. The contractual services under Public Act 57 for handling and auditing the funds of the DDA, the transfer to the Capital Improvement Fund based on the new millage rate for the police, transfer to the DDA public I'm sorry, transfer to the capital improvement fund. That's where the DDA had programmed their contribution to the DDA Public Infrastructure Fund. That fund does not exist, so we moved that appropriation down to transfer to DDA Public Infrastructure Fund, which does exist, with the correct amounts based on the new police millage. And the interfund transfer for the 2023 DDA bond project, just adding $1,000 that I think Matt had overlooked because there is a cost for doing the annual report for the bonds. That also has to be appropriated to that account. The council has made a decision to continue with millages for the police department, so your approval of the DDA budget should be approving the DDA budget with my recommended changes, assuming police millages.
Thank you. I'll make the motion to approve the Lake Orion Downtown Development Authority proposed fiscal year 26-27 budget with the village manager's recommended changes with the police millage levies. We have a motion and support. My comments are, we went through the DDA budget during the budget session. There were a few different adjustments made as a result of that with a couple of the adjustments with the contractual services, but other than that, I see no other major issues with that, and am happy with the budget as presented with those changes. Mr. Lamb.
Yes, I agree. This time, this was one of the best budget sessions we've had with the DDA, and I appreciate the director's great cooperation this year. It was amazingly peaceful and kind and fuzzy, so I'll go along with that.
Mr. Danielidis?
So just for clarification, the proposed changes here, are those agreed to with the DDA, or is this still going to go back and forth?
If I could, Madam Chair, Matthew Gibb, DDA Director. They're all clerical Scribner type changes, legal terminology of we needed to settle on final millage rates. That was what you decided tonight. I've discussed it with our board chair as well as our executive committee. We're anticipating the numbers, the action at the workshop and the joint committee really refined the points of Mr. McClary's administration fee for that. So I believe everything will be accepted and adopted by our board. It's very likely that our board won't do a final adoption of your approved budget until our June meeting. And there's some basis behind that, both from staffing and some other administrative work. But it'll be recommended fully for approved as recommended by the village manager.
Thank you.
Any other council comments? Public comments or questions? We have a motion and support. Roll call, please.
Comparoni?
Yes.
President Rutt?
Yes.
Councilmember Danielidis?
Yes.
Councilmember Papachek?
Yes.
Pro Tem Ford?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosher?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item 10, I guess it's whatever letter we're on. We'll figure it out. E, thank you. Zoning ordinance text amendments, sections 1311 and 1317, introduction and first reading. Mr. McClary.
Your Honor, the Village of Lake Orion Planning Commission is recommending that Village Council adopt amendments to the village's zoning ordinance to amend sections 13.11 and 13.17. I provided you with the background information on those two amendments. This addresses issues with the storage of recreational vehicles and other items on vacant lots within the Lake Residential zoning district. We have previously run into some problems with people storing vehicles and other things on vacant lots around the lake, and so this was meant to address those issues.
Thank you, Council. Mr. Danielidis.
Yeah, so, and I was just looking for clarification. I know there are some specific, I'm going to say issues that raise this. So does this verbiage address those specific? Can Can we now enforce the
Once the
zoning
ordinance-
regulations?
Once the ordinances are adopted, we would be able to enforce the storage of recreational vehicles on vacant lots. So the ordinances have to be adopted first. You're just introducing the ordinance tonight. It will be scheduled for second reading and consideration for adoption 1 month from now to allow for the necessary public notices. But once it's adopted, yes, we can address them. I know one of the issues we went to court on not too long ago, and there was a court order on that. So that has addressed one of the issues.
Okay, thanks.
So I'll make the motion if there's any further discussion, then to introduce and give first reading to the proposed ordinance number 26-109, amending the Village of Lake Orion zoning ordinance section 13.11 regarding accessory building structures and uses, to schedule the ordinance for second reading and consideration for adoption at Village Council's June 8th, 2026 regular meeting, and to direct the village clerk to publish the required notices.
Support.
So any other questions or comments? Mr. Camperoni.
Yeah, I would just like everybody to remember that this town was built on vacations, you know, and having fun and enjoying yourselves. And now we're going to pick on legal by the state vehicles on private property. Not so much an eyesore for people that understand. Maybe the association people don't like it and all that sort of crap, but we're all in this together. I don't think a $100,000 RV is devaluing somebody's property, you know. So I think it could be a little more selective. Yeah, if it's sitting there shrink wrapped or what have you, something like that, yeah. But these vehicles are licensed and they can be pulled on and off at any time they want to, according to the state.
Any public comment on the first reading and scheduled hearing? Mr. Stephen?
I believe the added documents do satisfy the requirements. But in reading the overall ordinance, I think there's some problems. If you refer to your pages 87 and 88 in your document, you will find that there's one situation where a resident can have up to 6 vehicles, trailers, boats, whatever, in their yard. And that's the way it reads. It says, and two vehicles less than 16 feet, and 2 vehicles above 16 feet, and 2 trailers. That's 6 vehicles that can be stored on a property. And I don't think that's our intent, but that's what the ordinance says originally. And I think that needs to be addressed. 2, there is another one that is in your section B that refers to a B1, and there is no B1 in that. So I would suggest that the entire thing needs to be looked at and brought into current applicable. And also you'll find that there's also one section in there that sounds like it doesn't even apply to anything on this, talking about residential properties and I think the whole thing needs to be looked at and cleaned up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but when this all started, didn't somebody mention that this was about recreational vehicles on vacant land? Wasn't the word vacant brought up there to begin with to start this whole thing? All of a sudden, we got jumped off onto private property. Where did that come from as far as, I mean, I could see vacant land not having a house and having people store it on there. And I agree with Mr. Alex over here. People have a right to keep their vehicles and stuff like that. But if it's vacant land, that sounds to me like it's unoccupied and it doesn't belong to anybody. Therefore, if you're talking about private land, those are two different things. So can we make it a little more clear on what we're trying to talk about here, as far as vacant land?
So
It
this
would make
first,
things more clear for the public, I'm sure.
this first motion, so there will be two separate motions to schedule. This first one is for section 1311, which is accessory buildings and structures. The second one that will be scheduled is for recreational vehicle, storage of mobile homes, travel trailers, motor homes, watercraft vessels, trucks, and other items. On just in the village in general, what is permitted and what is not.
Very good. So that would not be considered vacant land then?
So we're, for the storage of mobile homes and all that kind of stuff, that'll be the next motion that we look at.
Well, both of them are, the motion you're talking about now, you're talking about other structures, what type of structures, and what vacant land would somebody have structures on unless it was state-owned land?
It's a vacant lot, not vacant land.
You're talking a vacant lot. Now, is that a privately owned lot, or is that vacant land that's not owned, or is owned by the city?
You wanna?
Sure. When I referred to vacant land, we were talking about land that does not have a principal structure on the property. It wasn't meant to refer to ownership, because the property is owned by someone, but there's no principal structure, which in a lake residential zoning district has to mean a home. So if it doesn't have a home on the lot, they cannot, under these ordinances, they would not be able to store recreational vehicles and some other equipment.
So basically, if I owned 400 feet on the lake over here and I didn't have a house on it, I couldn't park my boat on my lot?
Under these ordinances, that is correct.
Okay. That makes things a little more clear, I think. Thank you.
Any other public comment on the introduction and first reading and scheduling the public hearings for ordinance section 13.11? Seeing none, we have a motion and support. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And I'll make the second motion to introduce and give first reading to propose ordinance 26-110, amending the Village of Lake Orion zoning ordinance section 13.17 regarding parking and storage of mobile homes, travel trailers, motor homes, watercraft vessels, trucks, and other items, to schedule the ordinance for second reading and consideration for adoption at Village Council's June 8, 2026 regular meeting, and to direct the village clerk to publish the required notices.
Support.
Any other council comments? Public comments?
My comments were meant for that particular issue.
Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item then F, Village Township Committee Citizen appointments. Mr. McCleary.
Your Honor, members of council, you are scheduled to consider making the citizen appointments to the Village Township Consolidation Study Committee. You had requested applications for these appointments. You have been presented with applications, and I'm not sure if we've received any since.
No.
Okay. So we are requesting that council make those appointments.
Thank you. Council.
Teresa.
Mr. Lamb.
So I'll move to appoint Robert Rearguard to to serve in the Village Township Consolidation Ad Hoc Committee for the purposes of investigating or reporting on potential Village Township consolidation in support of Village Council Objective 1.3, with the committee to complete its work no later than June 30th, 2026.
Do you have support?
Support.
Council comments.
Mr. Reard is a substantial member of our business community and residential community. He currently lives on the lake. I think he represents the business community, out of all the people that applied, I think he was the only business owner, I could be wrong, in the village. So I thought it was appropriate to include him because he's a participant in the DDA and participant in business and a resident. So.
Other council comments? Any, Mr. Ford?
Yeah, in regard to that, I have a general concern. I know that the nominated person has been actively involved in getting rid of the village. And I want somebody on here that is going to look at, as it's stated, pros and cons. And if their main goal is to get rid of the village, then we're going to get, one-sided things. I think when I look at all of them, I'm a little concerned because they are all lake residents. And I think the motivation for a lake resident, it might be different than a motivation for somebody that's not on the lake. That being said, we didn't get any that weren't on the lake, so, but I do like some of the other applicants because in their statements, they said, I want to look at the pros and cons. I want somebody that's going to be on there that's going to be objective and not be so previously actively involved in wanting to get rid of the village, because that's not necessarily the goal of this ad hoc committee. It is to look at both sides of the issue. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Dandelides?
So I agree. We need a couple of folks who can be very, very objective and not come into this with their minds already made up. I think this is an investigation. This is an opportunity for us to look at the feasibility and the pros and cons, whether it makes sense to pursue any further. And I think being objective and quantitative is what we need.
Any public comments? So we have a motion right now to appoint Mr. Rio to serve on this committee. Could I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Comparoni?
Yes.
President Rett?
No.
Councilmember Dandelides?
No?
Pro Tem Ford?
No.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosher?
Yes.
Councilmember Papachek?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Do we have a second motion? Mr. Dandelides?
So I'd like to make a motion to select Justin Jurgens for the second position.
I'll support. Comments? Any public comments? Seeing none, I'll ask a roll call for this as well.
Councilmember Papachek?
Yes.
Pro Tem Ford?
Yes.
President Rett?
Yes.
Councilmember Dandelides?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosher?
Yes.
Councilmember Comparoni?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item, I think H, schedule special closed session meeting, POAM and SCME collective bargaining strategy. Mr. McCleary.
Your Honor, members of council, administration is requesting that council schedule a special closed session meeting for Monday, June 8th, 2026 at 5:30 p.m. for the purpose of holding a collective bargaining strategy session connected with the negotiation of the POAM and AFSCME contracts pursuant to section 81C of the Michigan Open Meetings Act.
Thank you, council.
So I'll make the motion to schedule that special closed meeting for June 8th, as stated in the package. I'm going to read it.
Support. Any council discussion?
Just for clarification,
Yes.
you want the motion to read as it was stated in the
Yeah,
background?
Correct.
Thank you.
Yes. Any
But-
public? Oh, you do.
So I would like to see, at least a week prior to the meeting, I'd like to get copies of the current agreements for review, prior to the closed session. And then the second thing is, in my experience, prior to contract negotiations, both parties submit demands for what they're looking for, to come out of the negotiations. I assume something similar has been done. I'd like to see those also a week prior.
For clarification, we had our first bargaining session with POAM. Without going into details on that, they did submit their initial proposals. And we have not submitted anything to the union. Our labor attorney has recommended that we receive proposals from the unions first, and then we would present those to council with our recommendations on what our responses should be to those proposals, and that's the purpose of the special meeting.
So can I see those proposals a week prior, so I'm not trying to read them and understand them on the spot?
Let me give that some thought. We need to make sure that we protect the closed session information, but let me give that some thought. If we can, we will.
It just, in order to be constructive and fruitful, to be expected to look at a contract and look at proposed changes to a contract spur of the moment in a 1-hour meeting be very difficult.
Any other council comments, questions? Public comments, questions? We have a motion to schedule the closed session for June 8, 2026 at 5:30 PM. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I do want to note, it is 9:26. If we continue to go, we will need to have a motion by the council to extend past 9:30. So if we want to do that before we get into the next agenda item.
I'll move to extend 15 minutes past the time to finish the last two of George's items that are keeping us here.
Support.
So we have a motion on the floor to extend until 9:45. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Thank you. Next item, manager performance evaluation process. Mr. Danielides.
Per Section 8 of the manager's contract, council shall review and evaluate the performance of the manager annually in March. This process has not yet started as required. I'm requesting that council establish an ad hoc committee to formulate and implement the 2026 village manager performance and evaluation process per Section 8 of his employment agreement. So I'll make the first motion to establish an ad hoc village manager evaluation process committee comprising of 3 council members to formulate and implement a process for completing the 2026 evaluation of the village manager's performance, with the work of the committee to be completed by June 15th of 2026.
Support. Any comment?
Yeah, is this the same way we did it last year? You guys just sprang this on me, so is this the same methodology we did? Okay. Didn't we had a review committee last year?
Yeah, so that's, in fact, I have the minutes from the meeting in March 24th of 2025, and yeah, it's basically the same.
Okay, so I just wanted to know, we were just a little remiss later in timing because of the busy budget this year.
Yeah, there were 2 motions to establish the ad hoc committee, and then to appoint, the second motion was to appoint the committee members.
Okay.
Just for clarification, the way we've handled this in the past and according to the employment agreement, if we're going to handle this by committee, the committee meets with me and we discuss what the process will be and come to a mutual agreement on the process.
So can I respond to that, please? Okay, so per Section 8 of the performance, or the village manager's contract, Section 8 is performance evaluations. The last sentence says, the performance evaluation tools and methods shall be mutually agreed upon. There's nothing that says that the village manager would be part of the development of the process. Okay, it just says that it needs to be mutually agreed upon. So certainly we want your input, but I think coming up with a process, quite honestly, I think it's counterproductive with the input. So,
I'm not sure I understand what it is you're saying, but under the agreement, the manager and the council or the council committee has to mutually agree
Correct.
to the tools, which would basically be the process.
and that's what it says. It
Yes.
says that they have to be mutually agreed upon. It doesn't say that they have to be mutually developed, though.
Well, the only way you could mutually agree to something is if there's discussion and agreement.
Well, there would be,
That's why I didn't
there would be
understand what you were
discussion and
saying.
agreement, but I, quite honestly, what I would like to see is I'd like to see the subcommittee, the ad hoc committee meet and discuss the process and how this will work. And then naturally, we'd sit down with you and make sure that we're all in agreement. And that would meet the terms of the, that would meet the terms of the contract.
So, just so that I understand, so the committee would formulate a proposed process and evaluation tool, and then you would sit down, meet with me, we would go over it together, and we would reach an agreement on it? Is that-
Exactly.
Okay.
Sure.
That sounds acceptable to me.
Mr. Ford?
Yeah, I guess I'm okay with the fact that he thinks that's acceptable, but I think it would be better to have them included right away. We can come up with a thing, an evaluation tool, present it, and then we don't agree because we didn't hear all those sides and stuff. I would rather have the village manager in on that ad hoc committee.
I agree. I agree with you, Stan.
Oh, okay, thank you.
And so can I make a comment on it? So I was part of the committee last year, as were you. There were suggestions that were made that quite honestly got shot down before they ever got considered because you vehemently opposed them. You basically took over the discussion and your vehement opposition drove it drove no discussion is what it amounted to. And I'd like to see something different this year.
I'm not sure I remember that.
I don't recall that. I do recall us having differences on the process and the tool itself. I don't remember it happening exactly the way that
I'd be happy
you
to
described it.
Yeah, I'd be happy to discuss outside of here.
But the only way we're going to, I have no problem with the committee discussing amongst itself the process and the tool and then presenting something to me for my input. I have no problem with that whatsoever.
That's all
But
I'm asking for.
ultimately, you have to have my agreement on whatever process and tools you're going to use. And I'm concerned about the timeline that you've put forward and making sure we meet that timeline. That's
And I'm
my
concerned about the timeline too, but give me credit for recognizing we're late and bringing it forward. I didn't see anybody else
Oh my
bringing
God,
it forward.
George always has to have a timeline.
I got it, I got
Yeah,
it.
Mr. Lamb,
Can I make a motion in between a motion?
we have to vote on the current
I
motion.
have to vote on that
Yeah.
motion first, okay.
Yeah. So we have a motion to create a village manager, I'm reading your motion out loud. Village manager evaluation process committee comprising of 3 council members to formulate and implement a process for completing the 26th evaluation of the village manager's performance with a worker committee to be completed by June 15th. Any other comment about the formulation of that committee? Public comment? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
No.
Motion carries.
Okay, so the next motion would be to appoint the following council members. I would like to volunteer to be on that committee.
I would volunteer as well.
I guess I'm happy to serve on that committee if there's nobody else fighting for it.
Okay, so I'll complete the motion then to appoint the following council members to serve as the Village Manager Evaluation Committee, to include George Dandelides, Teresa Rutt, and Nancy Mosher.
Yes,
Support.
I
Okay.
support.
Oh, Teresa then?
Yes, Mr. Lamb.
All right, so this is, calm yourself. I'd like to move to fire the village manager. Okay? It's a formal motion, I just made it. So those, I'm tired of listening, but anyway, I'm tired of listening to people, a lot of people that come here in this audience and other places that tell me we should fire him. So, okay, I made a motion.
We have a motion on the
I
table,
was
but I don't
saying-
hear any support for that as well.
No support.
So,
Okay, so people, there's no support to fire the village manager. So let's move in a very positive, happy direction toward the village manager's review. Thank you.
No problem.
so we have a motion to appoint Mr. Dandelides, Ms. Mosher, and myself to the Village Manager Performance Evaluation Committee. Any other comment? Public comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then the final item on the agenda, status check for goals and objectives, Mr. Dandelides.
So in the interest of time, I would like to make another motion to direct the village manager to schedule a status review of our 2026 goals and objectives for the June 8th council meeting.
Just as an agenda item on the.
As an agenda,
Okay.
item, yeah, instead, let's not do it spur of the moment here, we don't have time.
If I could just clarify, council had already established a schedule for review of goals quarterly, and June 8th, I believe, is the date for that review, so it's already plugged into the draft agenda.
Perfect. My only concern was, we've got 4 goals that have June 30th dates on them, so I was getting concerned that,
It already plugged in.
okay,
I've also plugged in for the remainder of the year,
Thank
every
you.
quarter.
perfect.
So that satisfies that agenda item? Okay. Item number 11 then, call to the public. And I saw our fire chief walk in, so I don't know if he has any other update. Okay.
Yeah, that was my
He
mistake,
returned, so I didn't know if he was just bored and, wanted to come back, but, okay. Yeah, so call to the public. Mr. Steven.
I believe at the last council meeting, there was some public feedback with regard to the special assessments for streets, in which there were 23 people who came up speaking negatively. And then a comment came out that all the rest of the community must be in favor of it. I think that's a misrepresentation of what the population really wants. And I would suggest that solicitation of signatures of people affected by this would be appropriate to identify if the community does really want this activity. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Seeing none, I will close call to the public. Moving on to DDA Executive Director comments.
Good evening. Just real quickly, updating more for the public. I think most all of you are aware, we did submit last month a fully integrated engineering plan for the lumberyard project. That's pending with your consultants. With your approval of the bill run tonight, our great clerk will process through increases to legal, engineering, and planning as far as escrow fees for that. We're trying to stay ahead of it so that we don't have any interruptions. The Planning Commission meeting is just 3 weeks from now. I'll be posting the plan set on our website. I have not heard from any consultants of the village at this point, so I'm hopeful there's a review process. I'll get with the village managers as well to preemptively prepare the planned unit development agreement so that we can bring that to council in June. We're not trying to rush the matter at all, but it does give me a little bit of pause that I haven't heard from anybody. But I know the public is very excited about that project moving forward as well. The budget, thank you for the budget tonight. As indicated again for the public, the approval of the planned unit development plan will solidify the budget on the development budget for the lumberyard. If the plan goes sideways or if there's substantial modifications to that plan, it substantially modifies our budget. The DDA budget likewise will be reflected through an amended presentation in the 301 and the 404. I always get those numbers wrong. Sorry, did I get them right for once? Yeah. And that was anticipated and explained, but the public doesn't always know that. So if they look at our budget and they say, well, there's nothing budgeted for the lumberyard, this council knows, and now the public would know, that we are proceeding forward, being very finite in the way that we're building out the lumberyard project in the way that we're doing it. So as soon as we know that that is approved, it'll go to our board, it'll come to your council, and we will get all of those numbers in more finite form. So if the public's looking at that, that's what's going on. We had 80 people for cleanup day, but most importantly, a big thanks to Wes's group and the Parks and Rec Committee. I know you're on the committee for helping, and they're spreading mulch today. The downtown's starting to look like spring, even though the weather's not looking like spring. And lastly, your chief has been a rock star for the last 48 hours. He started calling me early in the morning on Sunday, and I was like, oh, God, I hope something's not burning down. Well, it was, but it was a water main. But if you get a chance, the public really, if you get a chance to really be grateful for the chief that you hired and brought into this community, he's been nothing but a solid asset to the work that you do. So kudos to the chief for the work that he's done. With that, that's all I got.
Thank you. We have 5 minutes left on our extended time frame. So item 13, council comments. Mr. Pepchak.
Not a lot tonight, just thankful for the community and rallying around on all fronts, and thankful that, you know, some of us are mobile to drive to other places and to pick up water and to pitch in and then do what we can, but keep an eye out for the folks that aren't as mobile and that have needs too, and I think people are checking on their neighbors and doing great things. It's been refreshing to see.
Thank you. Ms. Mosher.
As always, I always welcome and thank people, the public, for coming in, and anybody who watches, on the cable. And I want to thank the way that Darwin, Wes, the chief, Chris Barnett, everybody has just been so informative about the whole water thing. And thanks, he's still there, the fire chief, because getting the updates and everything have been extremely helpful. So that's my big kudos of the day.
Thank you. Mr. Dandelides.
So ditto on the water, but I also wanted to give a shout out to the volunteers, the 80 volunteers that were here for the DDA Spring Cleanup Day. A lot of work was done, and it was just a great turnout for the community. And I also want to give a shout out to Cookies and Cream, who donated and prepared hot dogs and ice cream for all 80 of those participants. So I appreciate that.
You, Mr. Ford.
Yeah, having attended the press conference on Sunday at the Township Hall, it was quite evident that we were in good hands by people who really cared. Chief Allen, the fire department, Mark Amundsen, and our police. I think Chris Barnett did a great job of handling that moment, but that moment was only part of all that these people have done. It emphasized the importance of what was going on, and but it also emphasized that we do have great leadership, and they've done a great job and continue to do a great job in this. Cleanup day was nice. It was fun to see all the people out there, from some old folks and some kids, and they did get a lot done. The issue with our millage and SAD funding, I do a lot of listening. Either way, I feel that the police were fully funded, and I think that's a goal that a lot of us have. And with the millage funding, the DDA also maintains their funding, so I was happy for that. I'm glad to see the Porta-Johns out. Just so you know, I've scheduled 8 a.m. and 8:05 to this one here in front of the village. So if the red signal is on there, it means it's being occupied. And then at 1 o'clock to 1:05, I got the one on Chadwell, just so you know.
But people have to turn the thing.
Mr.
Too
Caparoni.
much information.
Just saying. The whole issue was not my fault, but I'm taking full advantage of saving water. There.
Mr. Comparoni.
Well, 4 times tonight, I'm going to be in one of them. No, I just want to say thank you to everybody, and everybody's been doing pretty good. I've got to remember, this is a vacation town. It's not Troy, it's not Birmingham, it's not Bloomfield Hills. This is Lake Orion, the vacation capital of Oakland County. And we got to keep remembering that. You know, everybody wants to put a whole bunch of rules and laws and regulations on telling me how to live or telling you how to live. It ain't going to cut it here. This is a little small town, and we like to have our fun. So just keep that in mind when we're voting on telling people how to live and how to do their properties and what have you. You know, this is a very respectable neighborhood around here, and if somebody wants to park their thing on their lot and they respect the neighbors of it, no, I think it's okay.
So it's 9:45. We have to vote to extend to allow you and I to have comment.
I see 2 minutes, if you don't mind. I need to thank Darwin for,
So I vote to extend the meeting for another 5 minutes.
thank you, I support.
All in favor? Aye.
No.
Opposed? Motion carries. Please.
Darwin, sorry I tried to get you fired. Maybe next time.
Okay, you have a minute and
And, yeah, anyway, so after being woken up at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm really grateful to you guys for handling that, so I didn't have to leave my house at 2 o'clock in the morning. I just get to sit there and turn my phone off. We've had enough emergency response stuff, so everybody did great, and we're very proud of you and the rest of the community. And GLW, it was nice that they have spare parts waiting for that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I don't think you can order that kind of pipe anywhere in the world, so. Yeah, so I had a couple of comments. One is, I'm one of those people that I got 2 trailers, a pile of garbage, and we only have 3 cars on our property, okay? So whatever that comment was about, I'm not into restricting property use. My neighbors don't mind because I manage my fleet in a respectful.
Guilty to talking.
Yeah.
You keep running your mouth. Go ahead.
well, the bulldozer's gone, so.
The bulldozer's
Yeah.
gone, people, so you can't come and get me. All right, and then the other comment was about the revenue not growing. We have, actual proven facts that the village's revenue from all sources has been flat for 3 years. Has not changed. The last comment is the comments with regard to SADs. I voted no for the village's special assessment policy. We currently have a committee on the special assessment policy that's still pending. We haven't finished our review. I don't think there's interest on the part of the committee to continue. So I didn't agree to special assessments for the roads and stuff. Regarding the comments about people not showing up, at the very first meeting when we discussed the road paving project, there was discussion amongst council, and I said, we do not have a protocol that allows for people to go and get signatures. Our protocol calls for the village council to determine if roads should be paved through a hearing of necessity and then a special hearing for assessment. So I said to them, typically, people who are in agreement with the government action don't show up, okay? Then typically the people that don't want to action or are active in it show up. So I said, as far as I am concerned, if you don't show up to complain, then you're in agreement. But it looks like we're going to have some kind of stupid battle over paving the streets that are disintegrating. So now, for my $10 a meeting, I don't get paid for this. I'm going to have to go out and pound the street, getting signatures because my street needs to get paved, and people aren't intelligent enough to drive out there and see that it needs to be paved. At a certain point, streets need to be paved when they're dangerous. So if you don't want your street paved, I said, we won't pave your street. I told the people on Clare Street, you don't want your street paved, we won't pave it. The people on, what's the name of that street? Up on the hill, Darling Drive, you don't want your street paved, it's gravel? I don't want to pave it. All right? My street is effed up. My neighbors come by and say, I can't walk my baby. The little old lady say, last night the little old lady said, fix the road. She said, fix it right this time. Last year you spent 20 grand 5 years ago and it disintegrated. So I appreciate you all coming here to speak up. Come speak up. And I think I'm going to have to go get some people to come here and speak up. You guys all-
Well, I have 25 seconds, so just thank you to everybody in the community for all your efforts over the last 48 hours, and to, everybody working behind the scenes. We have the village manager's the village manager's report, unless he has comments he wants to make in the next 15 seconds.
Yes, just two things real quick. The Planning Commission extended the site plan approval for the Constellation Bay Development Project for another year, until June of 2027. And our ordinance codification is complete, and an ordinance will be coming to council shortly, because you have to do an enacting ordinance for the new village code. That will be coming to you.
Thank you.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Motion to adjourn?
Support? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Meeting's adjourned.